guys and girls and, well, everything in between. I don't mean to be gender exclusionary. In fact, all are welcome to the Back and Bone Show. Thank you for joining us again, and I am so fucking excited to present this next installment to you. We're joined today by Wyatt the Riot Craig and Derek McClesky. Now, Wyatt is a hip-hop performer and a content provider. He's been doing that for as long as I can remember. And Derek is a chemist and probably the smartest fucking guy in the room most of the time, I'd say. There was a couple times during this podcast where he had me and Matt looking at each other like, is that fucking English? We consider ourselves relatively well-read and understanding people, but yeah, that was some shit. You guys got to check out Wyatt's other stuff he's got going on. His podcast, it's been running for a while now, off Podbean and iTunes, Riot's Modern Life, and he's coming up with his next one right now, Working Hard as Fuck. That's not what he was doing. That's the name of the podcast. Of course, that is what he was doing, or he probably wouldn't have that much interest in a podcast by that name. Working Hard as Fuck is a presentation of individuals who are on their grind, working their asses off to do the things that they love, and they don't care how many bruises or broken bones they have to deal with to get there. Sometimes you gotta miss a meal. Sometimes you gotta lose some sleep to get where you want to be. But that's what it's about. So follow my boy Riot Craig. It's Wyatt Craig, but he goes by Riot. And get on it. And I really hope you enjoyed this show. I had a kick-ass time recording it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
An Uzi? I'm not from South Central Los fucking Angeles. I didn't come here to shoot 20 black 10-year-olds in a fucking drive-by. I want a normal gun for a normal person.
Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it.
You thought he was white before? You should see that sucking now.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand.
All right, so we're in today with the Riot and the Dirk. The Back and Bone Show back on.
The Back and Bone Show's back. Thank you for having me. Honestly.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to see you guys. I'm gonna say it's been what, like 10 years or something?
I haven't
like,
seen you in a minute.
Yeah,
I've literally
right.
yeah. It's been a really long time.
Yeah, I want to say like probably like right after high school or something, like, you know, that period of time. Maybe not even then.
There were some times where we watched UFC. I think a couple times.
Right.
It was like super few because I was gone. I was in the Air Force.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, dude.
Go back to fucking remember the Lakeview days of having the
fucking
we had
Lakeview
the
days?
fights. We had the fights in my backyards on minimum days.
When I remember I fought Johnny Hoffman.
Yeah,
That was
Keith
a
beat
good-
up Johnny Hoffman. Keith beat up Johnny Hoffman. He fought. There were some legendary fights in my backyard.
What
That's
happened
cool.
with the Johnny Hoffman fight?
He did his little door knock punches on my head a couple times, and I dragged him on the ground and fucking
That's
key
right.
locked him.
I remember.
I think I kneed him in the ribs a couple times.
There was a video. Right? There was a video of it. Right?
There was. I don't know what happened.
Someone's got footage of this shit.
Dude, there's a video somewhere of me boxing with Tony at the YMCA when he fucking hit me with a spinning backhand. It's bloodied my face up. There's still blood stains in the YMCA from my face.
I still remember when Wyatt first got his tap out shorts.
Oh shit!
They were like the old school. Or
They're the old school.
they
were tap out shorts.
They were the old school ones, and I remember we went to go play football, and Wyatt wore his tap out shorts to go play football, and they were like, no, I can't remember who it was. It was somebody. It might have been like Jared Baker or something. He's all, dog, I can't play with you in those shorts. He didn't want to tackle Wyatt in these tiny little things.
Talk about some. Yeah, dude, hey, I feel like homophobia as a teenager is like the ultimate high. Like you're never more homophobic than when you're like 16.
No. Everybody is still like discovering themselves fully, I guess.
Yeah.
So like I noticed this with my. I just went to my nephew's track meet today. And he's 12. He gets so uncomfortable anytime you talk about girls around him or anything, because he just doesn't want to. You know, I remember I would do the same. My dad would say shit to me, like he would go like. I'd go to hang out with my friends, and he'd go, Matthew, did you get any stink on your pants? That was like the most disgusting thing in the world.
Right. That would be like scarring.
But if like your friend asked you that, it wouldn't fucking be a different.
Oh no, yeah.
You know?
My friend asked me that.
Yeah, I'd be like, bro, all day. Like, what are you talking about?
That's the highest of compliments right there.
I gotta plug my nose and I take a piss. I got so much stink on this shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Oh man, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he's about to be at that age. Dude, he's 12.
Yeah.
Did he go out and fucking smash everybody in those fucking races?
He did really good. He got second in 2 of his races. He got first in 2 of them. He's a little deconditioned right now because he switched over. He just switched schools, and the school he was at before, he was practicing like 5 times a week. And the school he's at now, they have like a smaller track program, so he's only practicing twice a week.
How many?
So,
how big was the competition? How many kids did he have to
pretty
fucking
big,
smoke to get those first and second place positions, man?
You know what? I couldn't even tell you, but there was probably like maybe 6 different schools out there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he's done good in competitions before. Like he's gotten first in state and all that shit.
It's so funny he mentioned that. How many people is he competing against? So I fucking had to, when I was in the Air Force, I had to watch over a Special Olympian for a weekend, dog. When I was like,
wait, what?
Yeah. So they had the Special Olympics at the Air Force Base there, and everyone had to volunteer to do it. And we had this dude. He was in a fucking wheelchair. He literally so whatever Timmy from South Park has, this guy has.
That's a lot of things, man. I don't know.
So he can't talk, and he's like in his wheelchair, and he's got like hella like muscle atrophy, right? But he had like a cut off shirt, and he had like a fucking eagle tattoo on his fucking arm, and he fucking smokes cigarettes. So
he's just like a gangster ass Timmy.
And he had a ponytail. He had a ponytail, and he had those like 1980s like. They're clear frames, but they're dark. You know what I mean? Like, and so fucking, dude, this is how gangster this fool is. We got so sick of wheeling him downstairs to fucking take him out to smoke cigarettes that we just wheeled him by our window, and you're not supposed to smoke in these fucking rooms. But we were too lazy because it just got to be such a pain in the ass, so we just let him smoke in our room. But what he would do to ash it, because he couldn't use his hands, like I had to hand feed this guy and shit. He couldn't use his hand. He would just go, oh. He had this cough that he would do that would ash his cigarette for him. It was elaborate. So they're like, they're like, Mark wins fucking state every year. He takes first every year. Dog, tell me why we get out there, dog, and he's racing against nobody besides himself. And that's why he gets first every time.
First every year, baby.
So what was he racing in?
Fucking the electric wheelchair race, dog.
What?
It was like a 25 meter.
Real thing?
Yeah.
But
who can push their finger?
That's what I was gonna say. That's what's fucked about that.
Who's got their wheelchair the most souped up?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I don't want to shit on a Special Olympian, but
State champ, Mississippi State champ, Special Olympian, 6 years running.
I mean, 6 years running, baby.
Don't insult the guy.
6 years rolling.
I feel like having him do that. That's borderline insulting to the guy.
I know.
You gotta at least have him try.
I know.
Like, make him
I was out there with him.
skill.
And then like these 2 other guys that like knew him. Apparently, they came out and brought him a carton of cigarettes. This is in Biloxi, Mississippi, by the way, for the people listening. It's really white trash.
It's really important that you know where this is.
This is not happening in California. Someone just shows up and gives one of these fucking guys a carton of cigarettes at the Special Olympics.
Oh my god.
It was just really out of place.
Yeah, if that happened in California, there would be like some like dude standing off the guy and could go, "Hey man, that's not cool. He doesn't know any better not to smoke." There would be some like douchebag.
Yeah, no, it was strange. So
Hey,
like,
man, fucking let him smoke.
when we first rolled up to dinner, like I got him his food and shit, and I started eating. I look over, and then I realized he can't like eat, and how this guy had to talk. Like he could listen. He knew exactly what we were saying to him.
Mm-hmm.
He just couldn't talk.
Yeah,
So what we had to do, we had to put a pin and jam it in between his thumb for the people listening, in between his thumb and his index finger, jam it in there. So he'd hold it, and he could write cursive. So we'd put a thing up there, and he would just write cursive. And he was like, it was so fucking, it was really intense because he would fucking focus so hard, he'd just start drooling while he's doing it. It was fucking, again, I learned a lot, man. It was a good experience overall, but come back to your first place thing.
Yeah, do you think he had like polio or like, is it like straight, or not polio,
like MS?
No, I'm trying to think of
like
the my left foot thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Palsy.
I don't remember palsy.
Palsy.
Yeah.
It could be something like that, but like his arms and shit were like really small.
Mm-hmm.
He was like it's like his muscles atrophied at like a really young age or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a trip, dude. It's
Yeah.
weird. But,
It was a trip, but then and then there's some other bullshit about the Special Olympics. So there were some kids out there. It's like, wait, what's wrong with this kid? They're like, oh, he's got ADHD. It's like, what? And he's just out there smashing. He's just smashing. It's like some black.
That's like an advantage for
no, some little black kid out there straight smashing all these other kids, and he's just like, yeah. They're all like, fucking. He just got ADHD.
I'm pretty sure if you were to analyze any athlete, they probably all would have ADHD.
Yeah, probably. Like, I mean,
that's a common thing, I would think.
Well, also all the speculation.
It's a high percentage.
Yeah.
Let's not say all, but very high percentage.
Well, plus all the speculation that ADHD is like not even really a real thing. It's just like a matter.
It's a real thing.
Like, I'm talking about the speculation. It's a matter of like of the direction of your focus. Is like, can you focus on something that is interesting to you? Can you focus on something that matters to you?
Yeah. But not all the time, though. But not all the time. Not just on
saying,
command like that.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Because, like, school matters to me.
Right.
And it really does. But it's, like, so fucking hard for me to sit there and
Right.
just buckle down. And, like, guitar matters to me, but then I can just pick it up and play for 6 hours straight. You know
Right,
what I mean?
exactly. But there's different types of things that command your focus differently.
Yeah.
That's
interesting, actually, to think about.
Yeah, I definitely don't believe that ADHD is not a real thing. I just mean that in the sense that like I think it's different from what people, like it's not something that necessarily needs a pill.
I don't think it's like a red versus blue. You know what I mean? Like it's like two different kind of people. I think there's like various shades and fucking degrees and like you know what I mean, and portions of things that get affected. You know, just because we're all fucking mutants and shit.
It's a fucking spectrum. Everything's a fucking spectrum. Like,
can we talk about the Golden State Killer? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, you know what?
They caught him like 2 miles from my fucking house, bro.
Yeah, and I haven't had this.
He murdered people and like from all the way up there down in IV. Like his.
Well, let's before we go into it, let's give people a little background.
Run it down for him.
I'm not out about him. Super well informed on the Golden State Killer.
Have you watched the docuseries?
No, I haven't.
Okay, there's a 4-episode docuseries. Let me pull up the name of it. I was looking it up last night. We're gonna watch it tonight. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so something interesting that I heard the other day, actually, it was one of my clients that I was training at the gym. She said that the Golden State, apparently one of the people he killed, I think, was from Santa Maria or worked in Santa Maria at some point or something like that.
It's Not Over, and you can get it on Prime Video. It's 4 episodes. This guy, he started out as the East Area rapist. He's got 50 rapes under his belt and 12 murders. And you know how they caught him? This is how they caught him. One of his fucking relatives did an Ancestry.com thing. The cops were bouncing partial profiles. Okay. And they fucking caught him through that.
Wait, so if the Golden State Killer is like the Michael Jordan of rape, that would make Bill Cosby like what? Like the Tim Duncan of rape?
Like the Larry Bird of rape?
But this guy was a lot more slick than Bill Cosby. This guy's a lot more slick. Here's the one story that sticks out for me from this show, right? So they thought he was a cop the whole time, right? And this is the most savage shit ever. This is like fucking, this is so gnarly. So he was out like all these town hall meetings and shit. Yes. And fucking he was at all these town hall meetings and shit, right? And fucking some guy at one of them early on, because he hadn't, all his MO was he would break in and rape women who were by themselves. Mm-hmm. And some guy stands up and...
such an unusual...
some guy stands up and goes, this fucking coward, he calls him a coward, and he says fucking, he only rapes women that are by themselves. Dog, 8 months later, that guy got tied up in his kitchen, and this dude put a stack of plates on his back, and he said, if you move, I'm going to come out here and fucking kill you. And then the guy proceeded to go rape his wife. That same guy that said that shit, bro. It's fucking gnarly, dude. Like, this is a very insane story.
Well, not only is he a killer or a serial rapist, because they said he committed at least 13 murders, over 50 rapes, and over 100 burglaries.
Oh yeah,
he was just a savage too. He'd go in there and eat like food, like he'd tie him up and rape him, and then like work up an appetite. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ.
Really worked up an appetite raping.
Yeah, apparently it was GED Match was the Ancestry website that they found him on.
I made a fucking post on my Instagram story. I said Sometimes it be your own family trying to figure out how much Cherokee they have in them. This fucking asshole.
He's got
What percent victim am I?
He's got a lot of
18% victim.
Jesus.
One fascinating thing about this guy is he has like tons of different monikers. So not only was he the Golden State Killer, he was also the original Night Stalker.
Oh yeah, the original Night Stalker, East Area Rapist.
The East Area Rapist, the Visalia Ransacker, East Bay Rapist, and the Diamond Knot Killer.
This fool is prolific.
It's like pretty much any two words that you can put together that has like a horrible thing at the end of it is what that guy did.
The asshole ravager. He's not an asshole ravager.
It said that his span of killings, were from 1975 to 1986, and the reward amount was $50,000. That seems kind of low.
Yeah, but there's the 80s
friends
though.
who've had
There's like the
lower
80s
bail
though.
than that.
You gotta think there's the 70s, dude. 50 grand in the 70s. That's a lot of money, man.
It's true.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like inflation rates are fucking tremendous right
let's
now.
See what it was.
Yeah, compared to where we were
Let's
at.
see, $50,000.
No. Look at this. On June 15th, 2016, the FBI and local law enforcement agencies held a news conference to announce a nationwide effort and a $50,000 reward for his capture. So this was in 2016.
Oh. Yeah, but that's 'cause it's been so
Wait a
long,
minute.
though.
How much was $50,000 in 2016 though compared to? It's got to have gone up to maybe like 52,000 or something.
Okay, so if in 1978, 50 grand would be worth 198 grand. So,
Well,
I mean, that's a lot of.
But still, for
2016, yeah, because it's shot in the dark, bro. They just figured somebody will fucking come and fucking maybe narc. But this guy didn't even get narked out, dude. Like, that's what's fucking even crazier. He would have taken it. I just want to see the interviews they're going to have with this motherfucker.
it's going to be pretty
Some
fascinating.
cold shit, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It does beg the question, though, even though I would be curious to see the interviews and kind of what he has to say. Do you think it's like wrong to give because it's almost, I don't know, is it wrong to give him that type of publicity? And
I think we
attention?
need to get. I think it's healthy that the public gets to understand what the fuck what the fuck goes through these psychopaths' heads. You know? It's already been done. It's already been done.
For human betterment and discovery, like psychological understanding of like what goes on in the mind of a killer, I totally understand that. Like having therapists analyze this guy and interview him. Also, I think society has a right to closure.
Yeah.
We as people, when something like this happens, sure, it's giving this guy notoriety and it's giving him publicity, and we're taking all those fucking, the East Bay asshole ravager fucking names and like putting those aside and putting a real name and face to those. But as a society overall, we want to be able to look at this piece of history and be like, all right, this is what happened. This is who did it. This is what everything we know about that guy.
If they stop now, let's turn it in a different direction. If they were to stop, let's say they were decided that they wanted to do like a media blackout for like school shooters, since that's like so huge right now. Do you think that would reduce school shootings?
No.
In any way? Or do you think people, if the killer got zero attention after the shooting, do you think
here's the thing.
if their name was never even brought up?
It doesn't matter. This guy was so good at what he did you could have a copycat go and try a couple times, but they're not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not gonna cause that much harm.
Dude, this guy's like a modern like Gacy and shit. Like he's gonna go.
He went down for nobody's lasted this long without getting caught.
That's what I'm saying.
This guy's at the top of the heap.
Yeah, he's the new like
Bundy, Green River Killer.
I wonder if any of like, well, I don't know, was the Zodiac active in the 70s? I wonder 60s. If any other, he was 60s, I think. But I wonder if any other murders that have happened, he's like responsible for. I wonder if he's.
Well, that's another thing. Like he might.
Dude, he's Mr. Brooks. He's like, he's different killers throughout generations.
Have you ever heard the Stranglers podcast?
No.
About the Boston Strangler? That's really interesting. Because there was a bunch of different dudes that they suspected, and
how about the Hillside Stranglers? Have you heard that story? It's with these two guys from L.A.
Have you guys heard about the Stockton Stranglers?
Oh. Stockton Stranglers.
That's old school nicknames, dude.
So Hillside Stranglers. So they were two guys.
Yeah, two guys. It was like two cousins, and this was like in the 70s. I want to say in the 80s, maybe late 70s, early 80s, possibly. They were fucking just picking up hitchhikers and, just like disenfranchised women and just Brutalizing these bitches.
Yeah. I'm watching the waves.
You're good.
Trying to make sure you guys are getting good.
It's interesting. It's check out just YouTube. I just YouTube shit.
I mean, I've heard like little things about it before, but I've never like extensively looked into them.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on from cereal.
Yeah, I know.
That's
a pretty dark.
We talked about retards and serial killers. How about some drugs?
Let's talk about drugs.
So, well, we brought Dirk out here. I want Dirk's the only one in the room that's actually done DMT. So, why don't you talk about it?
Well,
what do you think about it? What's your
give us some insight.
Hands down, the strongest thing I've ever done.
Okay.
I mean, if sleep paralysis was fun, that's what it would be like.
Okay.
Kind of in a way. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
I can see that. Yeah.
Now, basically, now smoke, it only lasts about 5 minutes, but it feels like about half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, it's like when people talk about seeing like other dimensions and stuff like that, I completely understand because it's literally like that. God, it's just hard. It's hard to explain. It's just
explain the process. Explain smoking it.
Okay.
So walk us through how you do it and where you
smoke
and just try to follow that path into what you see and let that come out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so just you
start at the beginning and go to the end.
All right. All right. So basically, how it's done is threshold is about 5 milligrams. Heavy dose is considered 50. I like to do about 20 to 30. And basically, it's just your couch locked. Like you get closed eye visuals. It's just you cannot move.
So you're smoking, lay back.
You basically like, and you can do it through like a, you can do it like on like weed or like a dab rig. You can do that. You just kind of drop it right in the dab rig, and smoke it like that. And it takes about 5 seconds or so to kick in, and when it does, it's just
amazing.
Yeah, it takes about 5 seconds, and then it's
I hate waiting for my drugs to work.
Yeah.
Chop, motherfucker.
Get to it, mushrooms. What the hell?
And all of a sudden, you just feel like this buzzing, like this whoa, I don't know, the vibration of the earth or whatever you call it. I don't know, but it's just intense. I mean, it's just.
Is it completely unique, or is it like similar to any other?
Now,
taken?
It is a trip to me. It's in the same category as like mushrooms. Because ultimately, mushrooms, psilocybin converts into 4-ACO DMT. That's the end product. This is just NN DMT, so it's kind of in the same family roughly. It's just the 4-ACO lasts a little bit longer. This one is definitely more potent. There's ways you can make it last longer. Like there's certain herbs you can take that are MAOIs. They help you recycle single amino acids, make it last 5 or 6 hours. That's basically what ayahuasca is.
Okay.
It's
Would it be desirable to have a 5 or 6 hour DMT trip?
It'd be very purging. I can tell you that much. It'd be very purging. I definitely want to try it. But it's intense. It would,
yeah. Yeah, it's like braving the fucking. You're like looking up at the top of a mountain at that point, like.
Yeah, it's
can I do it?
It's just visual. Yeah. It's just you close your eyes, you just drift. You like time travel.
See, like
it's just the most. It's just the most intense thing I've ever done.
So it always has sounded awesome to me.
I'm gonna shit my pants in the middle of it. It's gonna be so intense. I'm just gonna fucking.
I
evacuate.
I've always liked the sound of DMT. I always wanted to try it. It definitely sounded like something that. Not just I would enjoy, I would get an experience out of, which is definitely my thing for sure. But how does it compare in any way? How would you compare it to what is it fucking called? The Indian stuff that gets
ayahuasca.
Not ayahuasca.
Salvia.
Salvia. That's it. Because I've had bad experiences on salvia, and they are
fucking
absolutely nightmarish.
Fucking terrifying.
You're a lot more likely to have a bad experience in salvia than you are DMT.
That's what I figured.
DMT is it's really peaceful.
If you look,
it can get intense. It's really roller coastery.
Yeah. If you read about salvia, it'll straight up tell you like 9 out of 10 users never want to use it again.
Right, and that was me. I did it, and I literally thought I was going to hell. Like, I thought my soul had been stolen. I was being shot to hell.
I'm gonna look up the DMT.
Pretty much everybody I've spoken to who's done salvia have all had bad trips.
Nobody's had a good one.
Yeah,
no,
and
it's not enjoyable at all.
You know, here's the
it's not enjoyable at all. See, like, but the idea of it to be in a full blown trip where you're completely outside of your body, that sounds fun to me. That's something I want to experience. But I want to experience that in a less like painful way
Right.
than what salvia
It
does
seem
to me.
like with salvia, the common thread is that people just always seem to think that they've died. I like I only did salvia once. My salvia trip, I thought I died. I went to heaven. You thought you died and went to hell.
So
another one that I know of, a friend of mine, he thought that a giant zipper zipped through the planet and killed everybody, and it was the end of the world. I mean, every single one that I know is just horrific.
So I didn't know when I took salvia like how you're supposed to take it. I don't remember what like X we got of it. I think we got like the
40X?
15X or 20X or something, and it was my first time. So my friends are just like, okay, so we're gonna pack this in the bong. You take a little hit, and I didn't know that it doesn't rip like weed. It's super thin. So I take the bong rip of it, and I dude, rip the whole fucking thing, and I just like took a big
load of salvia.
Yeah, so I take it, and I'm so I take it, and I'm like. Like so much smoke comes out like a fucking cannon, and I'm like, I should probably sit down before and then my friends told me what happened was I was just like, and I just leaned off to the side.
That's another common thing. A lot of people lean talk about invisible walls or invisible force kind of push.
Well, and that's what I thought when I did mine. Is I felt like there was when you said the wall thing, it made me think of. I kept seeing like layers of bricks, like Legos.
That happened in mine as well.
A lot of people say that too. Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. There's no warming up period with salvia. I mean,
no, you get hit by a train and it's gone.
It's right into it. Yeah. And same thing. I smoked mine out of a bong. We got some 40X.
Yeah.
And dude, it just about killed me.
That's what I did.
It was not fun.
I was flying, dude.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me.
So,
it scared me worse than anything.
So what I thought, the first thing that I remember being able to like semi-coherently recognize was I am shooting at light speed. And I'm like so fast, and there's a spiraling void of green that I'm being shot through, and I'm just like slowly understanding, and I'm like, this is the gateway to hell. I'm being shot into the gateway to hell. This is the way that it goes. And I look to the side, and I see these little wood cutouts on a railing following me, and these little wood cutouts have printed pictures of all my friends that are there with me.
Wow.
And they're all on these printed cutouts, and they're pointing at me and laughing. And I realized at this time that they were demons who'd stolen my soul and sent me to hell. And that was my trip, dude.
It's a very disturbing.
Fuck that.
I didn't want to do that drug again after that.
Yeah,
No, and I felt physical pain too as I was like spinning through the void. What it turned out it was that I was rolling around on the grass like.
It's like that episode of South Park where they're cheesing, bro. It's like the equivalent. The fucking like.
That's why the tunnel was green. It's because you're on the grass.
That's exactly why. That's why it was a green spiral because I was rolling on the ground looking at
my salvia trip. My first one at Dirk's house, right? Dirk had an easy up out there, like an easy up, and it had one of the canopy like nets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was hanging on the back, and I was like, I'll fucking try it first, right? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it first.
Fuck yeah.
So I fucking rip it, and then. What must have happened, talking about your outside effects fucking with your trip. Yeah. The wind blew a little bit on my leg. And it fucking, in my trip, it turned into a circus tent, and I couldn't get off. And then I look up, and it's Dirk, John, and Derek Carlson, and they're sitting there with knives, and my trip's going, and my fucking glasses fucking fall off, and then like D-Rock picks them up, and then this is like kind of when I come back to, and I go, get my glasses, motherfucker! I snatch them from his hand. I was like, fuck you, like fucking, because I thought they all had knives. I'm like, oh whoa.
Well, when I kind of came back, what they told me, like, I don't remember this clearly, but what they told me was I hugged everybody. So what happened was, what I do remember was that I was being pulled back, and I had this like really like overwhelming force pulling me back, and I was like, I escaped the tunnel, I'm free, I'm back alive, but if I get pulled back in there, like, I'm never getting out again. And I remember like grabbing people like to like hold on to them. I see people and I'd be like grabbing them, trying not to get pulled back, and I would like pull one and like toss them off and get to the next one. So I was like fucking hugging people and then just throwing them. Grab the next person.
Wait, while you were tripping?
Yeah. Well, that was when I was like coming back from. That was like the I don't know, whatever, the 6th minute of the salvia trip.
That's the crazy. You know what the crazy thing about salvia is too is like. All of these experiences we're talking about are insane. And the shit was sold in stores.
You could just buy this shit at a head shop, dude.
That's crazy.
Well, there were a few other ones.
I don't know if you can you still buy it?
Salvia, I imagine so. I haven't heard of it being.
Yeah, they don't care because they know that you never go buy it again.
Yeah, they're like, go ahead. You're not going to do it twice. Yeah. Who the fuck would sell that shit? It's got no return clientele.
Yeah, dude. When I had that other bag of it, like, so Melby had this other bag, and we brought it over to like Rafferty's house, and it was like Rafferty, like Burrow, fucking Jit Rat Jizz, you know what I mean? And fucking, I get them all to do it for the first time, and I'm just sitting there watching. Like, do you see watching people have these fucking awful trips is hilarious.
Yeah,
man. Like, it's fucking.
It's great.
It's some of the best.
When you already know, like so I did.
Yeah, you already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I did do it a second time. I was a lot more careful about it. I was a lot more controlled. I smoked it on weed. I just sprinkled it over weed, and I smoked it out of a pipe, and I knew what I was in for. So I was like, all right. And I was just hanging out. This one was actually kind of cool, but it was like unsettled. It wasn't like, it's not a cool feeling psychedelic. It gives you this uneasy, like, weird feeling. And I
tons of anxiety.
Yeah. So I was sitting there.
Fucking waves of
So
You get anxiety just thinking. You really know, like,
no, for real, yeah.
It's just
Well, we ended up doing it multiple times in one day, though.
Dude, we
So,
did a
like,
whole fucking gram.
Yeah.
We
we took it to the
Most
beach.
people buy the gram, and like 3/4 of the gram sits on the shelf.
What is the rationale behind that? Where you
We
guys
don't-
like,
dude,
you know,
we were
the
fucking-
dudes at the
I was
shop said it was
16.
good. Eventually, it's gonna be good at some point.
Someone's
So
gonna like
Dirk-
this sooner or
Dirk-
later.
Dirk smokes it at the beach, and fucking, we don't walk away from him at all. But in his trip, it looked like we straight ditched his ass. And this motherfucker straight almost bashed one of us like a rock, bro. He was so upset. He's like, we don't ever leave someone on a fucking trip. And we didn't. We fucking didn't. Like, we literally didn't. That's what the worst part was. We're like, what? What? We didn't leave. We're right here.
They turn around with you beating the water with a stick.
Oh yeah,
Dude, the Little Mermaid broke up with you.
In my beach trip, I broke up with the Little Mermaid, and I was like devastated.
Oh, man.
And I was throwing rocks into the water, and all the rocks that were peering out through the water were fucking like old, like what's that called? Like those fucking those old big computer screens. You know, the fucking like I forget what they're called.
Monitors?
The LCD, like the LCR computer monitors. Okay. You know, the big ones.
Yeah.
All the things that were sticking out the rocks, they were those, and like the sand was completely
super
orange.
weird.
I remember going up, and it must have been a piece of kelp, but I picked it up, and it was like, you know, like in a cartoon when it shows like a fish carcass and it's all like perfectly together. It was that. It was a fish carcass.
It's just a little.
Fuck. You know? That's the only little details there. And I was pissed. Ariel dumped me.
You like pick up the
man.
fish carcass. You're like, it's got a bigger dick than me.
That's tough, bro. So, what are you, a new boyfriend or something, you motherfucker? I had a cool trip at the beach one time. I did mushrooms at Black's Beach. Have you ever been? It's in San Diego in the La Jolla area.
So I've been to San Diego in June.
Black's Beach is super tight. So you go. There's this big like. Medical research building that looks like it's like straight out of a horror movie or something. It's like this artistically built black building, and so you walk around the back side of that, and then you go down this canyon. The canyon's like a I don't know. It's not long. It's like a 1/4 to a half-mile hike, and it's fucking beautiful. And then when you get to the bottom of it, the canyon walls open up, and you're at this gorgeous beach. So we did mushrooms before we started the hike, and. So we're all chilling there and like just mild, like not super hallucinating or anything. We were just having a mushroom high. We're like, you know, everything's beautiful. I love it. It's like I'm at the beach. The sun feels so good. And then we went and we hung out in the canyons, and I could see like all the canyon walls. They looked like just faces that were moving around and shit. Yeah. Like all the holes in the canyon. And
cool.
I felt this thing on my face, and I was like a sheet was being laid over my face, and I was like, what is that? And then I look, and my girlfriend's like pawing at the wall, and it's just dirt falling on my face. She's just like. So we start coming down from the trip, and we're hiking up, and right at the edge of the trail, when we're about to be back in like civilization, there's the biggest fucking rattlesnake I've ever seen in my entire life. And he's just hanging out on the entire like breadth of the entire width of the trail. He's just like looking at us for well, I guess we're hanging out here for a while. We all just like sat down Indian style.
Is it a nude beach?
Huh?
Is it a nude beach?
I think there's a nude beach nearby. I don't think Black's is a nude beach. It might
my
be.
friend right now. I was like, yeah, can we go to Black's Beach when I come down there? Because my buddy's over here hyping it up. You said the nude beach? That's the text message.
It might be. I don't know. I just know it's a type. It
sounds like a nude beach.
Yeah, it could be, because that makes sense. Black's Beach.
A white guy wants to go.
It's like, it's not really for white guys. It's
well, because it can't be called White's Beach. That's the point.
Definitely not. Oh man! Anybody else got any cool drug stories?
No, I mean mine are. I
have a Matt's first shroom trip.
Yeah,
I was there.
I'd
love to hear this.
You should eat an eighth.
I've just determined that I just can't do psychedelics. I mean, I can't. I just don't.
They're my favorite.
They're the best.
They're the only thing I wanted to.
And my our first shroom trip was when we were 16.
Yeah.
And we went and got these shroom. They were really pretty looking shrooms. They were
blue.
like blue and gold, and they were just like,
the first ones I did were like blue and like kind of reddish color.
Yeah.
They were super.
Well,
cool.
it was weird back then because there was this whole little.
They were giving us chocolates.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 16, you can only get so many drugs. Like,
Exactly.
You have
but
a very
then
limited.
You
pool
kind of
of-
get the drugs that are available to you when you're 16.
That's what I was gonna say. Things
Whatever.
It seems like
Whatever someone's older brother knows.
Exactly. It seems like things ebbed and flowed more back then. Like, you would have like 6 months or a few months where you would just have really, really good weed, and then it would dry up for a little bit, and everybody had crap weed, and just stuff like that. But anyways, we got
chronic, bro. There's Mr. Nice.
Yeah. When you would call the dealer and he would go, you'd be like, let me get a twofer, and he'd be like, 2 for $35, bro. It's bomb this time.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit like that.
Douchebaggery.
AKA I'm short this time and I need to make up some money. So we went and got these shrooms, and I don't know what made us decide to go to the mall, but that's what we did. We took them in the car, and then the first thing I remember saying as we were walking into the mall was I told Wyatt, I was like, dude, I think these are bunk. They're not even working. The last thing I remember him telling me before I lost consciousness, he said, just wait. That was it. And then before you know it, like I don't even remember the transition into being high, because it was so crazy. I mean, I felt like I was just sinking into the floor, and then all of a sudden, I remember being in Spencer's, and I was looking at like some Sin City action figures, and I just couldn't even like. I didn't even know what I was looking at. You just it's like a dream. You can't really.
So you don't really know what to do.
It's too much information for you.
Yeah,
to process
too much.
all at once. Too many parts of your brain are firing.
Exactly. Yeah, and we went to. I think where I started to have a bad trip is I was still managing my trip. I think okay, but then we ended up walking to Richard's grandma's house. And he started to play, and this is the strange thing about drugs, is you never know what's going to bother you or what's going to trigger a bad trip.
Right.
And for whatever reason...
shrooms.
Yeah. For whatever reason...
More particularly.
Shrooms are the only one that somebody can come in and just yell, and your whole entire existence
everything just
fucking works.
So
everything gets cold.
You're like 10 minutes to recover from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody yelled once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're on hella doses of acid, if somebody does that to me on acid, I can just laugh in their face. You know what I mean?
Me and Tom were shrooming up on Orchid Hill one time with Danny Problem Solver, and do you guys remember Danny Problem Solver? This is the day he got his nickname.
Which one?
I don't know his last
Danny
name.
Prendergast?
No, not Danny Prendergast. It's the blonde guy, always wear a hat, like curly blonde.
Oh, Danny Alexander.
Danny Alexander, yeah. Danny Problem Solver. He was hanging out with me and Tom when we were shrooming up on Orchid Hill, and me and Tom were fucking blitzed, and Danny just took like a cap, so he was like mostly coherent. And me and Tom were just tripping, having a great time, and all of a sudden we just hear like this horn, and me and Tom were just like, like shit, it could be anything. And Danny's just like, I'm gonna solve this problem. Like, I'm gonna make sure this is okay, guys. And he said that like 3 times that day, and we just started calling him Danny Problem Solver.
He's that guy's a caretaker. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
But so here's a funny Tom story with this guy. So when Tom got his DUI, you're gonna hear this. This is brutal.
All right.
Tom got his DUI. He was hanging out with Danny, Problem Solver. He said, Danny, here's my keys. Don't let me have my keys. And then Tom got drunk, And he said, Danny, give me my keys. And he goes, no, I'm not going to give you your keys. And then Tom beat the shit out of him and took his keys and then crashed his car like 5 minutes later.
I was about to fucking say that. I was going to tell you that must have been the story.
And then Tom got a DUI. He crashed his car into a curb like 5 minutes later, and that was the end of it.
Really horrible on all
That's
levels.
what you
Not
deserve.
only You beat up your friend.
No, you
For doing what you asked him to do.
It's instant karma.
Yeah.
You just got instant karma.
Yeah, I fucking
Right,
think
tell
Tom.
him.
Tom's such a character.
No straight, dude. Talk about your soul just getting shitted on. You deserve it though, dude. If you're
Yeah.
people, dude, I don't give a fuck if you're drunk or not. If you're treating people like that,
Yeah,
dude, fuck you.
Don't beat up your friend.
Right.
Like, there's no excuse for that.
No, dude, and you know, Tom had a rash of violence and shit, but I feel like he's like in a pretty good spot every time I've talked to him. He's hella happy, hella upbeat.
He always seems like he's doing good down
Him
here.
and I have been friends since I was 7 years old, so
Yeah.
like we go way back. Like, that's what he's family to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's been nice to see him, you know, get past the let me beat up my friend because he won't give me my keys.
Right. No, I've been super tight with Tom for a long time. Like, we go way back.
He's good people.
Not as far back as you
We
guys.
shouted him out on the last podcast because he left us a comment.
Yeah.
Hey,
he did.
did you see the fucking did he send you the video of the Texas chili hole review?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that was fucking gold.
So okay, Tom, you know, he follows like these like you know, vape reviewers and shit like that, and this dude does like a basically like it's like a one-on-one vlog or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he has people send in their stories, and Tom sent in the story of the Texas chili hole, and this guy read it on the air. Tom sent me the link. He's all turned into like 2 minutes and 2 hours even and 10 seconds or some shit. And sure enough, he's like, oh, we got Tom here with the story of the Texas chili hole.
Oh yeah.
This whole fucking. It was his birthday. We were 14 years old, so we were not doing drugs. We were not drinking.
No,
nobody had ever had a drink. Nobody had ever had a drug.
No.
In our whole group.
We had just stayed up all night the night before.
Drinking hella Mountain Dew, like ungodly amounts of Mountain Dew.
Something.
Right on.
But yeah, it was. We didn't even know. Apparently, the Texas chili hole was like a thing, you know. But I don't.
Yeah,
think
we like tested it, like we didn't believe it. So Tom passed out, and he had his shorts were hanging down like partially.
I'm in so much suspense because I don't actually know what a Texas chili hole is.
You're right.
Yeah.
Tom's shorts were partially hanging down.
This is already off to a bad start.
We pulled his boxers back.
With a stick.
And then
We had,
we
like,
found
a
like
stick.
multiple of like the hottest hot sauces we could find at Casey Manfredi's house.
Yeah.
And fucking straight poured hot sauce right down his ass crack, and it just seeped into his
woke
ass
up
while he was sleeping.
His butt marinated for a good like 15 minutes.
At least.
Probably.
At least.
Yeah, he ended up waking
no more
up.
than a half hour, but definitely more than 15.
He ended up waking up, and it was the funniest thing because
He had
was
no
like
clue.
he was in a daze. He sat up, and then we saw him check his ass, and then he
And
just
we're
like
all laughing.
we were laughing, and he just wouldn't say anything to anybody. And then we were like outside walking, and he kept checking his ass, and then finally he goes. Casey, can I borrow your scooter? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he just rode off really fast on the scooter. So we didn't hear from him for like an hour. And then we went back to our friend David's house, and then all of a sudden we get a phone call from Tom's dad. And he leaves a message, and he goes, you guys put salsa in Tommy's asshole.
I've heard that.
Tom said he had to sit flat ass in a fucking ice cold bathtub and drag his ass like a dog does his ass across the carpet just to cool his asshole off.
Oh god, I'm fucking crying. That's so funny.
The funny part was when he came back, he could have been a lot more mad. Like he wasn't crazy mad about it.
He almost kind of smiled about it.
No,
I
he did smile. I remember he did smile a little, and he's like, "Why the fuck did you guys do that?" I think he knew how funny it was.
No,
I bet you
that's how good our group of friends is, dude. Like they can just straight get their asshole scorched and then just know that it had to happen to somebody.
I bet you he was. I bet you after checking his asshole and feeling all that burning shit, he was probably stoked that he didn't get raped by somebody. Once he realized that nobody fucked his asshole, he's like, the Texas chili hole's not that bad.
Thought somebody raped him with a chili pepper.
Frank from Frank's Red Hot Sauce raped him.
Frank raped him.
The fucking Tapatio guy fucked him in the ass.
But
I'll never eat Cholula again.
I did hear about the Texas chili hole. Like I think it was
You
maybe on
had to
the
have
podcast.
told us about it or something.
No, the Texas chili hole. No, I still remember. The Texas chili hole I thought of on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like I'd never heard of it prior to
Sure,
that.
it's got to be on Urban Dictionary.
No, I'm
dog.
positive. I did.
It is
find
by
out,
now, anyway.
No, I did find out
After today, it's definitely
that's,
on there.
So that's what I was gonna say.
If
After
it's
the
not, I'm
fact,
publishing it. I got 3 publishers.
after the
Urban
fact, I
Dictionary.
did hear of the same thing. But during the time, it was just like I remember we had all stayed up that night and we were all trying to stay awake.
All hopped up on Mountain Dew.
There's not. There's a Texas chili bowl.
Okay.
What? Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Chili.
It's probably the same thing.
So when I thought of it though, it was literally just like I was trying to think of something to do to the first person that fell asleep. And I don't know how hot sauce came to mind.
Okay, here's the Texas chili bowl referred to in an episode of South Park. It involves Tabasco sauce, a telephone, and the anus. It can be, I think subconsciously you might have taken that because we did watch a lot of South Park. This was published in 2005. So
this was prior to 05.
Well, I know this was prior to 2005, but
of South Park.
It's the fucking...
How does it involve the phone, though? Where does that come into play?
That's just part of the episode. That's part of the fucking line. It's from the Trent Boyette episode of South Park, which is a fucking super old...
Yeah, I remember when he talks about... Yeah, when the kids are all in the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now,
Yeah.
I always thought he said Texas chili whole, though.
Yeah, but so fucking... I could still publish Texas chili whole as when you put hot sauce in your friend's asshole.
Yeah, let's do it.
There you go.
All right, yeah.
I'll work on it. Keep moving.
Yeah, get that in Urban Dictionary. So that's official. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a heavy point to leap off of. I mean, where do you go from Texas Chili Hole?
Well,
Tom and the Texas Chili Hole.
So I can finish my trip story here.
Yes.
What set me off on my mushroom trip, as we were talking about, was Richard playing guitar. And every time he would riff that guitar, I was just thinking, oh man, his fucking grandma's going to come out of the room and she's going to kill us. He's playing that guitar way too loud for some reason. And he would play guitar all the time. It was not a big deal. And then I was like, it was like in a movie where I would be like, Richard, no, don't do that, dude. And he'd be like, shut up, man, it's cool.
And Richard,
every time I heard that,
Richard ate like one shroom.
Yeah, and every time I heard that fucking guitar, it was like fucking. It was like in Law and Order when it's like dun dun. It was just like it was killing me, and that cascaded it. That set off the bad trip, and then after that, it was just all horrible. And the deepest point of my trip, I think the biggest thing I took from my mushroom trip, because we were 16 at the time, is I realized I was still like a total baby. Because I kept having visions of having to go home and tell my mom what I had done to myself. Like I kept having visions like, fuck, I fried myself permanently. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to go home and tell my mom what I did to myself. And I kept thinking about that and envisioning, but it wasn't like, but what people don't understand who haven't done psychedelics is it's not like an anxiety type thing where you're imagining scenarios. When I'm envisioning me going home and telling my mom, I feel like it's actually happening. It feels as though it's happening to me.
Now, do you think that was only because you're 16 years old, and when you're 16 years old, our perception of time is fucking weak.
Yeah,
weak as fuck.
Well, our
like this shit, I could eat a fucking eighth of mushrooms and not. I mean, I'll be fucked up. Okay, like don't get me wrong, but dude, I'm not gonna be dissociated with life that hard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just, like,
well,
I mean, you're 16 though. That's why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not just our perception of time, but like our emotional development and everything is just retarded. It's like
we're the time where everything's
he's sitting there thinking about like something that's gonna be really upsetting.
Right.
Like, oh, I gotta tell my mom about something scary, and he's like, this is probably forever. But I mean, everything is just compounding.
It wasn't like if I'm sitting here, right, and I start to have a bad thought and it bugs me, I still can distinguish that that's not really happening.
Yeah.
This felt, I was in my kitchen.
For sure.
I was telling my mom, I mean, it felt real, you know? Like, I thought it was really happening, and then it wasn't until like 3 hours later when I started to come down and then I was like, oh, okay, you're fine. Everything's going to be okay. But it took a little while. It was fucking scary.
Yeah.
That's when but you know what's great about it is it's a total ego check. Like,
yeah.
You realize how close you are to death, like how easily you could just, you know, it just like completely puts you in your place. It really does. That's one thing I appreciate about it.
Yeah, psychedelics have a tendency to do that. Like for something that takes you so far from your normal reality, it really does give you a different perspective on actual reality.
Yeah,
it kind of refreshes you.
It's kind of like the opposite. It's kind of like the opposite of cocaine, where you feel like you could. You know, I think I want to climb Everest. I
could probably do that right now.
Let's go, dude. Let's make some plans.
Yeah. I feel like psychedelics. It's like it's like you just reset your computer and you cleared your cache and you're just like, all right,
it's a good purge.
I'm back to normal. I'm I'm okay with where I'm at. Things are better than I'm then I feel like they are. So we're good. Like I always feel like that after I do psychedelics.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I was talking to Keith yesterday, and we wanted to. Keith had mentioned how he wanted to definitely talk about some hip hop related stuff with you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
One thing that I thought would be cool, and of course, you'd be the guy to talk to about it. But I was curious about, because I remember, so when you did your show at, Ace of Spades, and I would talk to you about just the whole process of getting booked and stuff like that. It was really kind of eye-opening in a way, because you're the first person I'd really talked to who, went through that process, And just about, it's like people picture it in their head as this glamorous, fucking
here's the fucking problem. And in some areas, being an opener for a fucking big show might be more of a privilege versus something that you just anybody can do, bro.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. You just gotta pay these people their money for the ticket sales and they'll push you up there. It's really actually pretty shitty. And it took me a long time to get sick of it. I'm not ever gonna play another show that I'm selling tickets for again.
Right.
I'm playing a show that some motherfucker else is selling tickets for me because I'm not playing.
Right.
Or I'll go do an open mic. But basically, you go, they go, hey, you want to be on this show? Okay, you need to sell 30 tickets.
Yeah.
And then the tickets are $30 each, so you owe them $900.
Yeah.
And,
So basically, you're paying to be there.
Yeah.
It's not that different. It's not that different from having fights.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the time they don't have a limit requirement on when you're fighting in a
Do
competition.
you make money at a certain point?
Well, they go all right, if you sell this many tickets, you'll get $5 a ticket.
Yep.
If you don't sell enough tickets, you don't get anything.
Well, what I started doing, I started throwing my own shows because it was okay, I go to the Ace of Spades, so there's 1,100 people there, dog. At the end of it, 9 people come up to me and go, dude, you're fucking really good, man. Fucking, that was dope. Mm-hmm. I go play a show for 20 people. 9 people come up to me at the end and go, dog, that was really dope. So I was all right, fucking, who gives a fuck? Yeah. I'll throw my own shows. So I found a venue who was really affordable. They were charging me $140 on a Thursday night. That came with the guy that ran the sound, that came with the bartender, that came with security.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's fucking
that's not
sweet.
bad at all.
Yeah. Okay, so what I would do is I would get 8 acts, right? And I would tell each of those guys, I only need 5 ticket sales from each of you guys. I'll give you as many tickets as you want. You can have the rest of the money from all of them. They're $10 each. So you can make more money than probably I'm going to make on here.
Yeah.
It's like a co-op at that point.
Yeah.
We're just trying to have this.
Everybody's
I'm
doing
just
their
putting
business.
my name down. You guys are all contributing just as evenly as me. I'm just the one putting my name on the motherfucker. So I broke even on most of those. Broke even and I did 12 of those, I think. One of them we did a 12-hour show. I threw in, I think we made $700 or something. Nice little outing.
Nice, yeah.
Did drugs all day long. Fucking played fucking music. It was cool. It was good
awesome.
times. Yeah. But it got to be too much of a grind. It gets really. I got to the point where, I just wasn't getting a boner from getting up in front of 20 people no more. It's just not doing it for me. So it's all right. Well, I'll just wait until I'm in a place where I'm really enjoying it. Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm still making music like a motherfucker. I'm in the studio every week, damn near every week.
Were you trying to progress your shows, make bigger shows,
I honestly had no idea, man.
Yeah. So you just hit that point where what you were doing.
Well, I was
really
okay, no, these guys. Well, then I get to the point. I look at the promoters, and I'm like, okay, well, fucking, you're not any smarter than me. Why the fuck am I put money in your pocket? Fuck this shit. Okay, I'm gonna go make money. I gotta fucking figure this shit out some other way. So, the goal now, I'd hit the dial back and go, okay, that wasn't getting me paid. I have teamed up with a guy who's just as good as me, if not maybe a little bit better. And him and it might take us 2 years to make this album. We're going to do an album. We're going to make sure that there's a full-length, fucking really high-quality video and a sketch for every single song. So probably 7 videos, 8 videos maybe. Yeah. And again, it's probably going to take 2 years. But then we're just going to fucking save up a couple $1,000s, go to LA for a week or 2, and just fucking knock down every door humanly possible, because that's a better route, or at least it's a different avenue than what I've tried before. And if we have, my idea is, if we have videos with sketches, you have 3 chances of show somebody that they're gonna like it, they can go, I don't give a fuck about that song, but who wrote that sketch? That's funny.
Yeah.
Or I don't give a fuck about that sketch. That song's dope. Or I don't like the sketch or the song, but who shot that? It was done really well. You know what I mean? So that's my next move.
Well, the fact that you have all those things planned and you put the time into it, and you're not in a hurry.
Yeah, it's
you
gonna
have
take years.
you have a completed piece of work. You don't have something that has holes in it. You don't have something where it's like,
I've been doing
we
a
got a
bunch of
couple
shit.
videos here for a couple of these songs. Some of the songs don't have them. Some of the songs have sketches. Some don't. No,
I've been doing shit with holes in it this whole time, and it's like, okay, but listen, if I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna do this, right? Let me just, or at least right by me. I don't know if it'll ever pan out to anything, but I feel like that's at least if I do that and it fails, I go, okay, well, fuck, that was really calculated, and we try it. Let's try something else. Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, but still, I mean, even if it.
And at the end of the day, I have my work like that. I can just go, I made that shit.
If it fails financially, that's one thing. But if you create something, that's added points to your life. That's added points to your existence.
Dude, there's still time. I was rating on the way down here today. I was just like, I fucking read something. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, there's not many things on this planet that give me the satisfaction of like writing something dope. Like, there's just not. So it's never gonna stop, regardless. Now I'm getting into film. Film to me is the most advanced form of art. It combines music. It combines photography. It's the video. It's crazy simple. Like, everything has a 3-act structure. Nobody breaks the fucking structure. I mean, there's certain rules that get broke here and there, but nobody breaks the structure. We are inherently conditioned to watch movies in a certain way.
Well,
any other way looks foreign, and you don't fucking get it.
Yeah, there is people who.
It's like watching one of those crazy Japanese movies. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
There are people who go in and break the structure.
Yeah.
But
sometimes.
Generally, it's like if you have like a David Lynch or something like that, like he'll do.
It takes a genius to do it.
And it's interpreted different ways. Like if you were to take somebody like a David Lynch, you either kind of love him or you fucking hate him. And people will either think that it's just some bullshit that makes no sense and is randomly placed there, or you have these guys who will go online and they'll literally spend hours dissecting this dude's TV shows and movies and trying to figure out like a puzzle what everything means. So I can appreciate it from both ends, I can see the appeal of the puzzle aspect of it, but then there also is that part of me that's like, what if this guy just doesn't mean shit? What if he just winged it and he just threw it all together?
Just a piece of shit.
Yeah, there's
there's that possibility as well.
There's a recognizable polish to that though when it's done well. There's a lot of people who attempt those styles and it comes off choppy and kind of fucked up in this way that you can't really necessarily put your finger on. You're just watching and you're like, something about this is just not, the ends aren't coming together. Yeah. And when you watch a David Lynch, it is polished. It is professional. It's clean, and you can tell that there's something more to it than what you're observing on the surface. And that's where like it kind of becomes different. Like, we were talking about Dada art the other day, the Dadaism movement, and
what the fuck is that?
It's art that is non-artistic, and that's why it's art.
Yeah, it would be like if somebody
shit on the sidewalk and they go,
yes, that would be Dada art.
Yeah, exactly.
If they say that it's art, that makes it art. And that's what we're kind of talking about is like breaking the barriers and the rules of something just to break the barriers and rules. If you don't do it with some sort of like function or purpose.
I went to school for web design for a year, right? And in one of these classes, I just found it to be like I laughed hysterically in this class. So like, okay, we're going to go around the room and we're going to ask each of you what you think that this artist was trying to do here. And I mean, it just got to the point where like the people's answers were ridiculous and I just made something up. I can't even remember what it was or what I made up, but I just made it up. It's not what I felt at all. And the guy's like, yeah, it's a very good observation. It's like, fuck you.
You can fucking say anything.
Yeah, it's
we were talking about like art is subjective, and we're like, isn't that just another way of saying bullshit?
It's just like from the Big Lebowski. It's like, it's like just your opinion, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just your fucking opinion.
It's your opinion, man.
That's what it is. Like you look at that Batman and you see one thing, and I look at it and see another, and we're looking at the same picture.
Sure.
I mean, I guess that's kind of the same way with like how people interpret like religion and shit too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole can of worms.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
I know that's a deep.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
You can read one Bible scripture and I can read the same one, and you can fucking get a totally different message from it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's
especially considering that those were written in like so long ago when words meant different things, and they were translated from other words so many times before they became the ones that we're reading today. It's like we're not even reading the same book.
Yeah, no, it's probably
Like, have you guys ever texted somebody and they completely got the wrong fucking message from what you were saying?
So don't argue.
Like, there's no fucking inflection.
Via text.
Yeah, how are you supposed to live your life off of what a book tells you that somebody wrote 10,000 years
like
ago?
Have you guys seen that Key and Peele sketch where he misunderstands his text? So he sends him a
and
text,
the one's all cool.
He sends him a text. It's like two buds who are they're gonna hang out that night, and his one buddy says, "Hey, what time do you want to meet up?" And he sends him a text. He's like in the middle of smoking a bong and playing a video game. He's like, "I don't know, whenever." And he reads the text. He's like, "I don't know, whenever." The fuck is that supposed to mean? He gets all pissed, and then they start going back and forth, and it's like, if you read something out of context, you can interpret it a completely different way.
And you can interpret it based on your mood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That fucked the whole thing up.
Because when you read something, you're reading it in your voice. You're reading it the way you would have written that sentence. You're not reading it the way it was written for you. Writing is super subjective.
Right.
It's subjective with order. It's subjective with rules. Like, when you write, you create something that's going to be observed by many different individuals who are going to perceive it many different ways. I feel like visual art is more, we are going to see the same blues, reds, and shapes and everything.
Yeah, you're not fucking blind.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Unless it's remember that dress thing? Where it was like, some people, remember that dress that was going around on Facebook?
Yeah,
and it was tripped in because
it
was this dress that they would post a picture of, and some people would perceive it as white, and other people would think it was blue.
I remember that.
And I showed it to my wife, and I thought it was blue, she thought it was white. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I was tripping out. I was like, fucking, I hated that I drank the punch, and I got suckered right into this photo, but I was like, fuck, how can you...
It's a real thing, though, man.
This looks white. It kind of blew my mind.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But I can't remember...
There's this one, right? What was it?
Let me see. Or was it gold and...
No, it's white and gold, or is it blue and black?
Yeah, that's what it was.
I see blue and black.
I see white and gold.
I see blue and black.
I see blue and black.
I see white and gold.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's unbelievable.
No, they should shut the internet down for like 2 days straight. People were
tripping.
I forgot about
motherfuckers were getting stabbed over that trash.
Now, there was like a scientific reason why, right? Wasn't there? Didn't they discover why it was? Like, people have different...
I quit giving a shit pretty early on.
I remember them talking about it on a podcast.
Sure, of course.
They said that there was... I think it had something to do with people having different,
probably has to do.
They perceive pigment, or I don't know.
No, it's probably got to do with the way, like the way you focus on the colors in the picture. Like, if you focus
that
on
thought it was blue and black have like genius level IQs, and then
how do you go by color?
So everybody else is a fucking idiot.
Everybody else in the whole world is basically retarded.
It's directly related to your IQ, whether or not you're.
Oh, look at this fucking white and gold tart over here.
Fucking white and golds. We gotta pen them up so they don't hurt themselves.
Everyone with the white and gold's gonna get like a Burger King crown from the fucking Burger King, like a fucking little.
We gotta get them all. We gotta get all the white and golds fast food jobs and fucking make sure.
You can only get up past a certain social hierarchy.
People are like trying to lie. They're like, "What color is this?" So like, blue and gold.
Blue and gold.
Like,
yeah, blue and gold.
Blue and gold. All right. Lock him up. No.
Not only is he retarded, he's also full of shit.
This one's a liar too.
Just throw him in like an incinerator.
Well, something pretty interesting that I wanted to touch on that we were talking about at the top of the hour was so Derek, you were in school, and then so what was it you were studying?
Chemistry, inorganic and organic chemistry.
Okay. So I don't even know what to ask in regards to that because I'm curious about it, but I'm like too stupid to even really dive too deep into it.
Tell us some more of your interests associated with that. What got you moving in that direction?
Yeah.
Basically, I just like the whole aspect of you're able to almost create something from nothing.
Right.
Like
an alchemist.
Gaining certain, in a way, you're combining certain elements or volatile element in other, Like, for example, if you take like sodium, like by itself, it's one of the most volatile, unstable elements on the periodic table. You combine it with chlorine, you have table salt.
Right.
Just certain little simple things like that. It always interests me. And
Yeah, well, even back
Right,
when we were teenagers, I remember like the first person who ever, like right around the time I was starting to get into lifting weights and working out, Dirk was working at the vitamin and supplement store.
Right.
And I would always go to him and ask him like, well, how many grams of protein do I need after I work out? And just little questions like that. He always like had the answer, like in detail, you know, like literally like the back of the fucking label.
Oh yeah, anytime I get a new supplement, I'm like, hey, can you read this shit and just
just tell me what the fuck this is.
Yeah.
Just make sure I'm not gonna die from it.
Just make sure you know my testicles are gonna be normal after I.
And then understanding chemistry made me understand all the nutritional aspects significantly more. I believe that's the one area to where a lot of nutritionists need to study. They need to study the organic and inorganic chemistry.
Well, how do you feel about some of the all of like the stuff about the microbiome that's coming out now and stuff like that?
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. See, that's the next field I want to get into is biochemistry.
Microbiome, so it's like gut health.
Oh, okay.
Makes a lot of
With
sense.
flora and your
Like,
gut and everything. Absolutely. I mean, considering that we're pretty much bacteria-based organisms, absolutely. You know, we have kind of a symbiotic relationship with other strains as well. And I mean, big advocator of taking probiotics. The more strains, the better. You know? And in fact, it's interesting. I got an interesting story about, a certain probiotic that I was taking. I was taking it for about a couple weeks. A couple days, I forgot to put on deodorant, and I wasn't fucking smelling. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, that hasn't happened probably since I was like fucking 10 years old. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Pre-BO.
And I was kind of thinking about it, and I kind of looked it up, and I was like, I read something about just having good amounts of skin flora actually will get rid of the stench in your body.
Oh wow!
And it made fucking complete fucking sense.
Yeah, you hear a lot of
and
things
then
like
the moment
that,
I stopped taking the probiotics, it started stinking again. So I kind of did a little bit of an experiment there, and it was kind of mind-boggling.
Now, as far as like the surge of all these like probiotics that are coming out now, and all these like supplements. How do you feel about those? Do you think a lot of them are good, bullshit?
Yeah, you think there's going to be some bullshit artists, right, coming along?
Absolutely.
In any emerging field, there's going to be people
trying to
capitalize
on like when I was a teenager, there was maybe like a couple of probiotics that you could get. They weren't like huge like they are now.
Oh, yeah, not even close. Not even close. You maybe had ones that were at the max, maybe 50 billion count with like maybe 10 different strains. Yeah. I mean, now you got ones that are 200 billion with like 30 different strains.
Right.
I mean, just really pushing the envelope.
Now, is that counterproductive though when you have that many? Because won't they like counteract one another in certain ways? Or
well, take it as a maintenance dosage of 200 billion. Yeah, that would be completely too high. Now, if you're coming off of like antibiotics and you need to reestablish the good flora in your gut and the rest of your body, it's absolutely mandatory.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I ever really even noticed probiotics was actually when I started eating like my Greek yogurt and stuff like that. And I would just start reading the label out of curiosity, and it would say, like Acidophilus, Bacillus, Bifidus,
Bifidus regularis.
Yeah. And then I was tripping out on it because I never had really like read into. This was like probably like 10 years ago, and I'd never read into probiotics before, and I was like, what the fuck is all this stuff? I just thought. I didn't even know if it was just like shit that they added into it, or I had no clue that it was like a naturally occurring part of the
organism. Yeah, it's an actual organism,
a living organism.
Yep.
I had this stuff the other day. Actually, it was this new. It was called Cocoyo. So it was like this new coconut yogurt, and it has like a. I've had coconut yogurts before, but this one had more of a fermented taste. Like it literally tasted like a kombucha.
Tasted like the lactic acid was present in it.
Yeah, it was like a kombucha fused with a yogurt, and it had this tangy kind of bite to it.
Lactic acid.
It was. But I like that though, because to me, I don't know if it's just the from the lactic acid, or if it's me. Like when I taste that, I'm like, okay, this tastes like potent almost.
That tangy, almost like from a pungent sauerkraut.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always liked that taste.
Let me ask you this: did you have to condition yourself to like kombucha, or did you just like it? No, see, because I tasted someone who was just like, no.
That's actually just what I was about to say. I've always liked fermented foods. Even as a kid, I would eat like a shitload of pickles. I loved peppers that were canned. I loved kimchi the first time I tried it.
First time I fucking get down on kimchi all the time.
Oh yeah, I eat it like every meal. Snacking on kimchi.
Oh yeah.
I liked it. I liked it immediately. As soon as I tried it, and I don't think I've ever had like real serious kombucha. I've only had the stuff that you get from like fucking Vaughn's, and that's like basically soda. And I fucking like that. Like,
I like the. There's a brand. I like the Health Aid brand.
Okay.
It's like a lower
I think
sugar,
I think that's the one I've had.
It's a lower sugar brand. It's got
has
more
like the
bite
anchor
to
on it, right?
Yeah, it's got an anchor
that's
on
the
it.
one.
I like that one.
Yeah. Well, it tastes like fucking. It tastes like fucking 7-Up, man. Like.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. To me, like now that I've gotten used to drinking the kombuchas, when I go back to have a soda now, it tastes like shit to me.
Yeah.
Like it tastes like pure syrup to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It tastes like just a candy.
I almost never
bottle.
drink soda.
Yeah. I've totally and it didn't take long either. Like I got pretty used to the kombucha pretty quickly. But like I said, I think it's definitely not for everybody. Like my wife, she'll have a couple of kombuchas, but she's not really into fermented foods. And like I said, I've always had a taste for fermented foods. So along with the fermented foods, as far as have you ever had any like when you're doing your own I don't know, I guess you could say like experimenting for lack of a better term. Have you ever had any like close calls when combining chemicals and like concocting things?
As far as like blowing myself up?
Yeah, just like
creating some sort of skin-eating virus or
last time I was kind of doing things, I got a couple lye burns. That's pretty bad. Because a lot of times, like especially when extracting DMT, I have to use something called like an acid-base methodology. Basically, and then I have to use something called a hydrocarbon solvent. So a lot of your petroleum distillates you would use as your solvent. So basically, what you do is you just take like the plant material and you combine an acid with it, so like vinegar, get it down to like a pH of 3. All right, just boil it for a couple hours. You're basically turning it into an acetate form from the acetic acid that's in the vinegar. And then at that point, what you're doing is you add in the lye to make it about pH of roughly 13. Because what you're doing there, by combining the acid and the base, that reaction there breaks apart the plant material and breaks apart the alkaloids. And basically what you do after this, you throw in the solvent, pulling the alkaloids away from the plant material, and you have a pure product. Well, then you throw it in the freezer and precipitate it, then you have pretty much a pure product.
It's intense.
It's a little bit more detailed than that, but that's basically in a nutshell.
That's the layman's terms.
But basically, you're just using the acid, the base, the reaction from the strong acid and the strong base to break everything apart and using the solvent.
What Dirk is trying to say is that he saw you know, blue and black on the. Or what was it? Was it white and black?
for those of you guys who,
saw white and gold.
The rest of us saw white and gold on the. He's letting us know that.
For those of you guys who can't see us, my nose started bleeding when Dirk was talking. My brain fucking exploded.
I definitely I think I had a hemorrhage in my brain. One of my eyes started twitching. It was like, this is fascinating, but it's also painful. No, that's dope, dude. That's I'm actually legitimately fascinated by how drugs are made and
it's
how
an art.
It's
an art.
And
and it's just nobody really wants to do it too. That's what gives me incentive more to do it.
Sure.
It's kind of a forbidden fruit.
Fuck yeah.
Right. And so, what do you think that is exactly, though? What is it that I mean, I'm sure there's a whole combination of things as to why. I think number one, just from my perspective, is most people just flat out aren't smart enough to do it.
I think they just don't have the incentive.
Right.
That's just what it is. I mean, because I'm not exactly the brightest crayon in the box. I mean,
thanks for that, Dirk. We really appreciate
it. It's whatever gets you up in the morning. If whatever gets you up in the morning is going to the gym, or whatever gets you up in the morning is just trying to figure out how to do more. You know what I mean?
That's exactly
that's what you like. Like when you make something that's dope,
like
it's just like you just get like a straight boner. You know what I mean? From fucking making something that fucking works. You know what I mean? It's so dope.
I've been really wanting to try my hand at growing mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
I've heard it's not that hard. It's fun. It's like
not hard. You just gotta keep everything sterile.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'd have to do some real clearing out at my space to find a spot where I could keep everything sterile and keep it separated. You have to keep it dark too, right? You have to have
well, initially yes, when you're letting the mycelium grow, but when you're actually fruiting the mushrooms, they need about 2 hours of light.
Okay.
And they can be like faded light. And when you get like for example, if you have like a 2x2 kind of like tub, you'll get about an eighth a night.
Okay.
if you just let them kind of go. And you can reuse them a couple generations. You know, they have a few generations like lifespan about 4 or 5 generations.
That's good to know.
Now,
Like,
wait a minute, that wasn't true about you know how they used to say that mushrooms would come from like cow shit or patties or something like that.
Now those were the Liberty caps. Those were a completely different strain than what's out now. What they use now is the kits that they're using a strain called psilocybe cubensis. It is about twice as strong as the actual Liberty caps, you know, and they're a Mexicana strain.
That's right. Back in the day, they're like, yeah, you eat an eighth. Dude, if you eat an eighth of this shit, you're going on Mars, bro. Like a half eighth of this shit is fine. Like
dude,
a half eighth gets you there, bro. Like you're fucking having a good time.
The thing is, the reason why I wanted to grow my own is because the last few times that I've done mushrooms, I've gotten like nothing out of it. The last time I did mushrooms, I took a little over. I think I took about a quarter. Yeah. Because me and my roommate, we each got an eighth. And then she was like, I don't really want to do these. And I was like, okay. And I took both of them.
And you're a bunk?
And I experienced nothing. Like, I got like a little bubbly in my stomach.
Yeah, you just had some fire ones. Oh, man.
I've tripped my fucking ass off before a handful of times. So like,
we'll
these
talk,
ones
we'll
are
talk
like...
off air.
Yeah.
We'll talk off air after this. What's it called? Okay, so I got this story from last weekend, dude. So I get invited up to this fucking mansion. My friends invited me up there. I'll just leave it at that. And
you guys want to crack a window? It's getting
it's a little hot and toasty.
I'm feeling Please continue.
So, we get up there. Some drugs are being taken, some MDMA, some cocaine, some mushrooms, some LSD. It's a wild one.
Times are tough.
Well, it's a wild one.
There's a lot of work to do.
Anyways, this fucking old woman, this dumb bitch, she takes it upon herself to eat the remaining of the bag of the Molly. Okay, and this is like pure MDMA. Okay, and so there was, by my guesstimation, there was no less than 7 doses, and there was no more than 12. Okay, and this woman. It
was crystal MDMA. It was like a whole bag of. All right.
And she's about 5'2", 110 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking,
that a girl.
I
proud.
And she was blackout drunk. She was blackout drunk. And like you only do that if you're stupid or suicidal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like there's no.
That's a lot of drugs.
Yeah, and she fucking. By this point, I had taken 3 hits of acid. And fucking.
She's like, I feel so good. I don't feel good anymore.
She couldn't talk. She's like this. I was like, hey, what the fuck? So I Google what happens if you eat too much Molly, and it straight up says you can have a heat stroke. I was like, call an ambulance now. Yeah. And needless to say, my fucking acid trip was just fucking annihilated.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just had, oh god, it was the scariest. It was the fucking scariest thing ever. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is don't eat too much Molly.
Yeah, the best is when someone does too much drugs and has to go to the hospital. That's like,
that's fun.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Use the restroom real quick.
Yeah, that's right. Out that door and to your right side. Yeah, no, I've fortunately never been in that position where someone's had to go to the hospital. We're usually pretty contained.
Yeah, I also don't believe I've ever been around anybody who's ever had to be. I mean, I've been around people who maybe start tripping a little too hard and they think that maybe they're gonna have to go to the hospital, but it's always pretty clear that they're not really gonna have to go.
Not foaming at the mouth or anything.
No.
So I would like to make a note to those of you listening who are not as familiar with recreational drug use as your hosts today. As Wyatt mentioned, that was pure Molly in a crystal form that the girl was taking, pure MDMA. And your typical ecstasy, or even most of the time when you get Molly or MDMA purchased from a dealer, you're getting it in a cut form. It's usually cut with amphetamines and caffeine it's cut with like meth. A lot of it.
Like an upper or downer though, right?
But there's usually other things mixed into it.
Is your straight couch. Yeah. It almost feels nothing like an amphetamine.
So a lot of the time
you can fucking the last time I picked some up, right? I needed to make sure it was good. I took out a crumb, maybe a 0.03, like a fucking third of a dose, and I fucking crushed it up and snorted it just a little bit, right? I fucking, chilled I was feeling it for about like 20 minutes. I went and rubbed one out, took a couple bong loads. I went to sleep an hour later. You know what I mean? So dude, and like for instance, like my girl, she'd never taken drugs ever in her life, bro. And we took that. And you fuck on this shit. It is like some literally. It's almost out of the body experience. It's some spiritual sex that you're having on this shit. I can't recommend. Dude, people they recommend it for married couples that are fucking going through it and shit.
Wow.
Because dude, like that's how me and my girl got so close so quick, bro. Like I like literally looked into this person's soul on this shit. Like it's fucking real. It's crazy.
That's what drugs can do.
Yeah.
They really like.
No, for sure.
They really cross that ethereal barrier between people.
There's like no filter.
Yeah.
It's just like all the love you got comes out. You
It's
know what I
super
mean? Like,
raw.
it's fucking
Like
cool.
it's super raw being on drugs with somebody like that you
Yeah.
have like an emotional relationship, an emotional attachment to. Like it's good and bad because you're putting yourself out there. Like
They have to call this bang because of what it does to your asshole. I'm sure. I'm sure.
That's a plug from one of our sponsors, Banger.
For those of you guys that don't know about Bang, we sold this at our gym for a little bit. Well, I think we still do, but we're out of it right now. But it's like an amino acid, coenzyme Q10, creatine, and then just like a fucking mega dose of caffeine. I don't know.
Shard
How much
attack.
caffeine?
Just gonna shove it.
Well, they give you a warning.
There's actually a syringe taped to the outside of the bottle with just caffeine in it.
Intravenous use optional.
But no,
Like
it
caffeine
says
intake
on
is
it. It says on the thing,
ridiculous.
warning.
Yeah.
Too much
I
caffeine.
drink
may
like
cause
9 cups of coffee a day at
irritability,
least.
I get a
Like,
Keurig now.
sleepiness,
I
and
love it.
occasional
Keurig
rush.
changed my game. I'm like,
Actually,
if I want something
300
sweet, I'll do the
milligrams.
energy drink still, but like
How many
coffee's
servings
fine.
though?
dude, I don't fuck with the Keurig just because I need more than one cup at a
Oh,
time.
so that's high, but that's
Yeah.
that's
They
high.
said more than 2 cups of coffee. That's not too bad. That's like a Starbucks. Or something.
Red balls.
Well, how do you feel about? I was listening to a podcast recently, and the guys on the podcast were talking about supplements, and they had said that one thing they said is that if you were to take most like over-the-counter pre-workouts and stuff like that, and you were to minus caffeine and creatine from it, the majority of them would just be dog shit. Those are the only 2 real effective things inside a pre-workout. Other than what else did they say?
Beta-alanine
And
and
beta-alanine was the
either
other one.
arginine or arginine alpha-ketoglutarate, which is wonderful for nitrous oxide production.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's like poetry.
Well, and you for sure. I remember the first time I took arginine when I was like a teenager, and I couldn't believe it. Instantly makes you more vascular.
Absolutely,
It's
Yeah,
very.
that's what you had me
notable.
buy. I had some.
Right.
Yeah, the fucking.
And
I
it
had
was
some
a
powdered
shitty
arginine.
like Walmart like oral arginine. It wasn't nothing
Right.
special, but even that I noticed right away.
Yeah. I kind of laugh when they combine it with caffeine because it's kind of counterproductive. You know,
Okay.
considering caffeine is a vasoconstrictor.
Right.
And then you're combining with a vasodilator. I mean, I don't know if you've ever just taken arginine by itself without the caffeine, but it's way bigger. You can definitely tell the difference.
Okay.
Definitely tell the difference. I mean, they just throw it in there just to make people feel more powerful because they like that stimulant effect.
Right.
But ultimately, in the pre-workout, I think it needs to be without the caffeine.
Okay.
And I mean, and ultimately,
So you just take arginine then by yourself then.
right, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, too, I mean,
That's good to know.
Because I switched up my pre-workout. I'm on one of those amino pre-workouts, not the amino energy ones. It's like less. I feel way less cracked out from
Well,
the
and I think,
fucking one I
and
was
just
before that.
just from like a trainer's perspective, I think that I see I've always saw the caffeine as counterproductive in the sense that as soon as you take that caffeine, okay, your heartbeat goes up, you feel ready. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your body is primed and ready. Like you would have been better off doing a proper like warm up where you're doing you're actually.
Yeah, but it's not
priming your
that
body
liquid
for the
motivation,
workout.
baby.
Yeah, it makes you
That's what I'm
alert. It
saying.
sharpens you up, but it doesn't actually like make your
Well,
body
so
more
a lot of
effective
times-
at doing anything.
If I'm fucking, feeling lazy or whatever, I'll take pre-workout, and there's just no way in fuck that I'm gonna sit there and not work out. So it drags me. It in a way helps me get there.
Well, and
and
that's
I think a lot of people crutch it like that. They
Yeah, well,
really
that's
do.
what I always
Like,
tell people too. Like I tell clients that at the gym all the time. I go, look, don't become dependent on your pre-workout. Don't feel like you have to have it to work out. But if you're not going to come into the gym unless you take it, take it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly. Well, like I do this because you build a tolerance to it, just like if you're smoking the same strain of weed. If I take, there's no way I'm buying the same pre-workout 2 months in a row. I use one. I have like 3 or 4 that I really like, and then I just cycle those because whatever their own, everyone's got their own little fucking signature. Maybe not signature, but some of them are different. Like, for instance, GAT doesn't have creatine, right? So you get a slightly different effect from taking GAT than you do from fucking, Woke as Fuck was the last one I was taking, which is made by a Bucked Up supplement. Yep. Woke as Fuck is straight crack, bro. It
doesn't sound.
No, the first one's called Bucked Up. So the guy's like, "Oh, they got Bucked Up." I go, "Which one is that?" He goes, he's like, "What were you taking?" And I was like, "Dude, I've been taking GAT like off and on for like fucking years." And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna want this one."
I just do a line of coke before I go to the gym every time.
We can give you bucked up, muffed up, fucked up, or butt fucked. And butt fucks.
I'll take the red butt fuck. Can I get the red butt fuck?
Yeah, you guys have any Texas chili hole?
Texas chili. That's fucking gold.
Wyatt, I just want to point out that, I've been noticing you talk from your profile direction. Your beard is so powerful, man. You didn't have that the last time I saw you in person. I'm seeing it bounce up and down.
It makes it look like I actually have a chin.
Dude, it looks like fucking Leonidas. It's very impressive.
Gives me that fucking that fake chin fucking look.
Yeah, he's over here and he's like turning over to talk to you guys about the supplements, and I'm just seeing that thing just go like gong. It's like
like the crimson chin.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna like clap when his mouth closes. Like it might hit him in the nose or something.
Like one of those Russian like nutcrackers. So yeah, have you ever taken acid?
A bunch of times, yeah. Okay. I've only had it actually work 2 times, and one of the times it was not actually acid. It was 2CE, which
2CE or 2,5-I.
2CE is what they told me. They said is a
it's
related.
2 carbon. It's related to 2CB. It's a mescaline derivative.
Okay. Well, okay. So the 2CE, most vivid visual hallucinations while still being coherent that I've ever had on a drug.
Right.
Right. It's just like absolutely.
2CI, 2CE. I'm a big fan of the 2 carbon. My favorite one is 2CB. I love them. In fact, a lot of those old school e-pills, they thought it was MDMA. It was actually 2CB. A lot of times. And they would combine maybe a little bit of MDMA in it, like that wavy kind of like effect.
It was wonderful.
That's 2CB. I love that. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was I was sitting in a house and I was staring at a couch, and the fibers in the couch like formed like the shape of Buddha, and he was like pulling water from a well, and I was just like, this is so wonderful. Like everything just like, and seeing something be created with my mind and my imagination, knowing that's what I'm seeing is such a it's such a euphoric feeling. It's such a beautiful inspiring feeling. I was listening to classical music when I had it on, and I went into, I don't know why I just got the urge to do this. I went into a dark room, closed the door, turned the lights off, and I sat there and I listened to classical music, and it was like at one point the music was very like cheerful and pleasant and melodic, and then it got to a point where it got darker and through heavier tones, and I started to feel like the demons coming out of the darkness to like fuck with me, and I just sat there and I just I handled it. I faced it, and you guys know what I'm talking about. When you're in a trip, when shit's heavy and you're like. It's like I was like, I'm gonna handle this. I was like, I feel this. I wanna face it, and it was super dope.
At this point, I've taken enough fucking psychedelics. It's again the circumstances the other night. I still was in good enough spirits to be out there taking pictures and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that lady was just like about dead. So fucking. But I should not have taken that 3rd hit of acid, because these hits are acid.
I should not have taken that 3rd hit.
Okay, this is how strong these hits of acid are. Okay. Well, the one guy was there. So I have I've had some green ones, right? And these green ones are they're like overdose tabs, bro. Like you take one of these, if you took one of these, you probably would not like acid. You know what I mean? Just too much. But if you took a quarter of it, you'd probably have a really good time.
That'd be like taking a couple hits of acid.
Yeah, for real.
But seriously, the greens are taking 7.
I took a green and a half on my birthday. We hiked up Horsetail Falls, dog. We hiked for fucking 8 hours. It was badass. All the way to the top of this fucking, not even to the top, but you could oversee the whole valley and the big ass waterfall. It was cool. But anyways, I was at this party, right? And I had these blue ones, which are also really strong, but they're not close to a green. They're like fucking half a green maybe. And fucking so this one guy's like, oh yeah, I want some. I was like, oh yeah, fucking throw it down. Throws it down. Dog. 16 hours later, this guy's still like, dude, I still feel this shit. I'm like, my bad, bro. Well, so then I left some for them. Some of the girls took like a quarter of one, and they're like, oh, that's fire, that's badass. Like they're out wine tasting shit. The one dude took 2/3 of one. He'd never taken it, and he goes, yep, first acid trip. Last acid trip.
Oh!
Well, no, but he's like a whiskey and cocaine kind of guy. And a lot of times...
He's a whiskey and coke, the other kind of coke.
Whiskey and cocaine kind of guys, they take that kind of shit to numb whatever they're trying to numb.
Right.
You know what I mean? You take that as psychedelics to face whatever you're numbing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you don't, when you're numbing, you don't want to face it. You know what I mean? And so that's what happened to him. But, I just go, well, do you feel like you're fucking better for it? And he's like, yeah, I'm glad. I don't regret it. Like, I did it, and I made it through. And fucking, I don't like it, but fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't all bad. He was like, it wasn't all bad. I mean, there was just parts where I saw some really horrendous shit in myself that I didn't want to see.
Right.
You know, that's just what he said. I mean, fucking... He was drinking later that night, just fine, having a good time. Fucking like, yeah, that was just not for me.
To me, psychedelics have a lot to do. Like, I mean, they have a lot to do. That's such an understatement. They have everything to do with your attitude going in. Like you're like a wise man once told me, "We just bought the tickets. Now we're going for the ride." Like, it's not. You got to know what you're getting yourself into. You got to know that you're not.
Like, I didn't know that lady was about to like die, so I took it. And then
Probably a good idea.
And I had to face that, and I was just like, "What a dumb bitch."
So, whatever. So I'm happy.
At first, I was just like, "Oh, we're in for a show." I was like laughing about it, and like as she's like getting pulled, like carted out, I'm thinking in my head like,
"Oh, this could be really serious."
It's like, why did they say that? Like, everyone here's going to remember those words. Like, those are the words that everyone's going to remember. I was like, you're fucked. We're in for a show.
Wait, you actually said that?
Yeah. I was
we're in for a show.
I was frying balls on
That's
all the
funny,
drugs.
man.
I was literally on all the drugs in the hot tub. I was like, oh, you're fucked. I was like, we're in for the show. I'm literally just chilling. And then it starts to get real serious.
I'm glad I'm not the one in that gurney.
Well, no. Then she starts like, I mean, this was like, it took them, we were so far out in the fucking middle of nowhere in this mansion, dude. It took them 25 minutes to get there. And fucking, yeah. This chick that was on fucking shrooms was literally like, I've never seen a fucking stronger woman in my life, dude. She fucking hung in that pocket, dude, and held this fucking woman, and she was like falling out. And she was she ate like 3 grams of fucking fire ass shrooms and like just did it. It was very intense. It's something I could never do. I mean, I could do it if it was like one of you guys that gave a fuck about, but not some dumbass bitch that fucking just decided she wanted to fucking fly off the handle here and fucking ruin everyone's party.
So was this now when she did this? Was this like were they? Was it like a buffet? Were they out there?
Yeah, no, we had the Coke was out, the Molly was out, shrimp, the big ass bag of shrimp was out.
Like, you know what?
It was a smorgasbord.
That's my favorite one. I'm just gonna take a whole plate of that.
Well, no, I had told her, I said, hey, you're gonna only want, because there was no scale, nobody had a scale or capsules, and so I said, hey, here's a couple crumbs. I said, just take this much at a time until you get the desired effect. And then she decided, apparently, that she blacked out and fucking ate a gram.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, she's got to still be reeling from that, bro. Like, I'm sorry, dude. You don't just fucking, you don't just wake up 2 days later and go, fuck, I'm glad I feel good again. It's like, nah. Dude, she was like, I was like, do you see a trail? And she was just like, whoa. Like, fucking, I watched her just go to a plane of existence that she had no idea where she was.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what movie is that? I think that happens.
Had some revelations because of the fucking ordeals, to be honest with you.
I think that happens in that movie Go. Pretty sure somebody ODs in that movie, and then have you ever seen Go?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
I'm trying to remember.
I always get Go and Spun confused.
I never saw Spun.
I never saw Spun either.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah.
Which one was the one that had what's his fucking name from Sin City? Marv from Sin City.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey
That
Rourke.
would be Spun,
Which
I
that's
think,
Spun.
right?
That was Spun, yeah.
Yeah. Mickey, goddamn, dude, Mickey Rourke. Have you seen him lately?
No.
Oh God, dude.
Has he gotten a new surgery or what?
A new surgery, like one of a fucking 1,000.
Yeah.
He's like the new Michael Jackson, dude. He looks horrible.
No. Dude, he looked horrible 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Like
he looks worse now.
Oh, he looks like Steve. Oh my God! Here was him originally.
Yeah. He was a handsome dude.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Dog, he looks like a fucking burn victim, dude.
No.
Oh yeah. They just waxed over his face.
What is the date on that?
Looks.
What is the date on that?
Dude, he looks like the cop from fucking Sons of Anarchy in that picture.
You gotta see, dude. He's worse than that now. I'm telling you. I'm gonna type in Mickey Rourke 2018.
He looks like Steven Tyler fucked Rocky, dude.
He does. Yes. That's a perfect way of putting it.
That's
Steven
some fuckery right there,
Rocky.
man.
Oh,
Mickey
man.
Rourke 2018, because he looks worse than that now. Like he looks, if you can believe it, he looks worse than.
You're a fucking liar, dude.
Well, it's hard to
I'd still
believe.
fuck him.
I probably would too. It's crusty old.
Dude, just to say that you fucked Mickey Rourke.
I
Come
mean,
on.
hey, you fuck his
So,
mouth,
that's
it's like
a-
fucking a fleshlight, you know?
Yeah.
His face is plastic.
Okay, here's why I hate.
Technically, it's masturbation. He's more than 50% synthetic,
Yeah.
so like
Oh, man.
he can't be classified as organic anymore.
Is this it right here?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it. I told you, dude. It's
man.
worse
I
now.
don't
Alright,
know
let me
if I
see
fuck him.
this.
I don't know if I fuck him now.
Dude, yeah,
Maybe like,
Jesus Christ!
circa
Hey, he's
2015,
starting to look
Mickey
like
Rourke,
the
I might
fucking-
fuck
he's
him.
like the fucking cat lady, dude.
yeah,
He's
horrible.
Oh.
That's like fucking.
Oh my god, I don't even know what
So
to
bad.
describe that
What is
as.
that thing?
Yeah, dude.
He kind of in that picture. He kind of
Looks
looks
like
like.
his face melted, got kind of elongated a little
Yeah.
bit.
In that picture, he kind
he,
of.
just took a fucking blowtorch from his face. Hey, there you go. Send him on your way.
Oh, here's the full image.
Oh no.
Oh! Oh, shit. Kate,
So
dude,
bad.
Dude, he's going to pull... I think he might transition, if you know what I mean.
No,
It's
he's
looking
I think
like
he might.
it
I think he
almost
might.
does, it does borderline look like that.
Yeah.
He's ran out of facial surgeries, dude, so you just gotta fuck it, cut it off.
Why did he? Why did he stop wearing shirts under his sweaters?
He's Mickey Rourke, dude. He's
Yeah.
all bodied up, man. You gotta show us
He's a fucking wrestler, bro.
dude.
He's a fucking
Yeah.
wrestler,
He's a
man.
fucking wrestler, bro.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Did you see his boxing match from like a couple years back?
Dude, he
now?
fought my roommate's friend.
Really?
Yeah.
No
Did
shit.
he
I met
fucking
the
get
guy
his-
a couple
did he-
times.
Did he lose?
Huh?
Did he lose?
Well,
No,
yeah.
it was a fix.
Yeah, it was a
It was a
fix.
fix.
So he
Wow.
had to lose.
Yeah, they
Uh,
fought in like Russia.
It
and
was super like
clearly
yeah.
staged.
It was this super depressing
Very
fight. It
depressing.
was like the
How much
guy.
did they pay your friend's friend to take that fight?
I think they gave him like a couple $1,000.
And he was like homeless when he took the fight, right? That's what I
I
had
think,
heard.
yeah, I think he was homeless.
So he was hard up for cash, and they were like, "Hey, take a dive to Mickey Rourke." And
Yeah.
dude, if you saw this fucking fight, Mickey Rourke is not even capable of throwing a knockout punch.
No, he was just like.
He moves around like a dude.
It's like fucking. It's like a
It
family
was
guy
like-
that had Reagan smash,
No, dude.
and it's fucking Reagan on the set the McDonald's.
Oh,
punching
No, it
Reagan
was like
smash!
Just like-
it was like Homer Simpson when he's boxing with
fucking
Tatum O'Neal.
Tatum
And he's
O'Neal.
like, he's right.
No, isn't it
I'm
Dedrick
gonna
Tatum?
knock
It's
it-
Dedrick Tatum.
Oh, Dedrick Tatum.
Cedric
Yeah.
Tatum- or
Dedrick-
Dedrick- is it
Dedrick Tatum.
Yeah, that's right.
Dedrick
Tatum
Tatum.
O'Neal was like that
Tatum
little girl
O'Neal.
who get killed or something, wasn't it?
Dedrick Tatum. Hold on.
That was a funny. That was a funny character.
That's
Yeah,
fucking gold. Yeah, it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he's a
Dedrick
Mike
Tatum
Tyson
is
dog.
like-
Yeah.
That's fucking gold.
Have you been to Simpsons Land at Universal Studios?
Yeah, it's
No.
amazing.
Oh my fucking! I'm not
There's
even
Moe's
like a
Tavern
diehard
in there.
dude.
yeah.
I'm not even like a diehard Simpsons fan, but this shit is ridiculous. You feel like you're in fucking Springfield.
Yeah.
They got a Moe's fucking tavern. It's an exact replica. You can order a fucking burger. You can have a fucking Duff beer. I got a slushie with I bought a Bart Simpson cup. I still have the cup.
Fucking eat my
slushie.
shorts, bro.
Yeah,
Let's
dude,
go.
They got
son.
Duff
They got
beers.
the
They got
Simpsons 3D ride.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking awesome.
they
dude.
got they have the Duff Gardens. They have
I wonder
they
that
have-
fucking Harry Potter fucking one too.
It's
Harry
dope,
Potter's
dude.
Land, they have
Yeah.
that there
It's
too.
gonna be
It's
sick
pretty
for
cool.
sure.
Is,
You go there frying balls, go to the Harry Potter
Dude,
land.
the Harry.
Oh,
did you not
that'd
like the
be
Harry
fucking
Potter
I
ride?
loved it. I thought it was
Okay,
wonderful.
you liked it. There was somebody that mentioned the Harry Potter ride is fucking crazy.
Dude, it's nuts.
It's a
Are you
mix.
like in a Quidditch match?
Yeah. It's
There-
like a
at
mix.
some points, yeah,
At
yeah.
some points you are. And it's like a mix
So-
of 3D and animatronics, and you're
There's
like in a
like-
fucking cockpit.
Yeah.
And it's like the back. Remember the Back to the Future Universal Studios thing? It's like that on fucking steroids, dude. You're just
Yeah.
fucking jerking you around like you feel like you're on a coaster, dude. And you're like,
And there's
"Oh."
fucking, there's big old like animatronic spiders when you go in the forest
Oh,
and
fuck
stuff. They're all
yeah.
like coming
Yeah.
at you.
Okay, it sounds like a psychedelic adventure that needs
Oh,
to be taken.
for sure.
Oh yeah, I had a chick next to me who had a wand, and she straight up was casting spells. She knew all the spells.
That's
She
awesome.
She was so.
Yeah, that would make it more fun.
She was in like her mid-20s. You could tell she had been waiting for this her whole life, and her friend gave her like a free fast pass. Her friend was running the fucking ride. She gave her a free fast pass. She got on the ride, and then she was like, "Oh my god, what'd you think?" She was like, "I fucking loved it." She was so fucking happy. It's gnarly, dude. You go into a restaurant and they serve you butterbeer and like fucking.
Shit.
It's cream soda with whipped cream on top of it. It's
Still,
great though. It's really good.
Yeah. It's cream soda with a scoop of melted margarine.
Yeah. Or something. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Yeah. It basically tastes like cream soda.
But it's yeah, it's super dope. They have at this. I noticed this really weird trend there. Every time I've been there, and I've been there a few times because
Asian?
No. There is like a really high number of like a large percentage, a high ratio of like supermodel looking women wearing fucking robes with wands and Harry Potter glasses and shit.
Really?
Like all fucking Hogwarted out. Like super hot chicks.
I'm gonna tie one to my dick and just fucking whip it out.
I saw like a lot of them, like all over the place. Yeah.
Maybe there was some kind of like.
Dude, I've been there a few times.
A horror convention?
Yeah, this is a horror convention.
A horror convention mashed up with Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Dude, it's the Horcrux. Like.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
No, dude, it was weird because like I'd seen that consistently for a while. Like, and then I'm talking like full blown like fangirl shit. These girls are like, you know, with their fucking wands and their like I don't know $50 robes or whatever they fucking cost there to buy them.
Dude, I bought my nephew one. They're like fucking $90.
And who's fighting tonight? Isn't there a fight tonight, Bellator?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. Yeah, Fedor and Mir. Yeah.
Fedor versus Mir tonight. Is that on TV?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
What do you think about? We were talking about the Grand Prix in the message the other day. I think I think when the UFC doesn't have a fucking like definitive -- contender, or they have like an interim that goes up and there's like, you know what I mean, maybe 3 guys vying for it, they should do a fucking Grand Prix that year. And
I do think that the Cormier fight makes sense right now.
Yes,
because there
for
isn't
sure.
any
For sure.
real like contender.
No, and that's gonna be a fucking really good fight.
Yeah, that fight plus Cormier like used to fight it.
I hope
that fight
fucking
makes
Stipe
sense.
just fucking knocks that fool's
People don't give him enough credit,
dude. Stipe's he proved that he's a fucking monster. He is
like, in my opinion now.
He's already seen.
I don't want to see DC get crushed, bro. Like he's a fucking he's undefeated technically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's technically undefeated. But he's old. At some point, someone's gonna beat him. Like someone's gonna knock the fuck out of him.
Dude,
at some point, it just has to happen.
I'm all for
and so this is the one I think is gonna happen.
Sure.
That's why I think that. That's
if
all.
you look at Stipe's record, I'm all for the argument. I do think he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. If you look at his record,
he has the longest title defense.
Everybody,
yeah. And in a division that one punch could just end your whole fucking career.
Yeah. And yeah, right. You knock your fucking teeth through your asshole with one fucking punch.
Dude, you know what happens in the case with a guy like Stipe? When you have a guy like him who's not like, he's just so well rounded and he's not outstanding. He's just outstanding at MMA.
Yeah.
So he's not like outstanding.
Specialist. He's not like a super specialist.
Yeah, like sometimes those dudes just get lost in the shuffle. You know, if they don't have a crazy personality, they just get lost in the shuffle. And I feel like that's what happened with him. But dude, all of his fights, they're all finishes. Like he doesn't have.
I just want to point out that you're pretty far from the mic. I don't know what it's coming in like, but you might sound like you're like super far away.
Did he finish? Did he finish Ngannou?
No, I thought it went the distance.
I think he did. I think they.
No, I thought he finished him.
I think they ended up stopping it.
I can't remember. That's really weird, but I do. I remember him. I think I remember him finishing him.
I'll have to Google check that.
Yeah.
I'm Google checking it. Hold up.
Because he fucking wore Ngannou out, man.
Yeah,
like
he
Yeah, that fool got gassed out.
Yeah.
That was the only way. You know, they had to sit there and go, okay, listen, dude, we just have to make sure you don't get hit. This fool's gonna fucking gas.
This guy, they're saying like this guy is trying. This guy fucking knocks the roof off of buildings when he hits people.
Dana White's face when Ngannou was getting just manhandled in that fight. The look, he can't even hide it at this point. It's so clear the guys that they want to push to the top, you know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But well, did you hear his statement after after Conor McGregor did that whole fucking like
the
bus
bus
incident,
Yeah.
literally what Dana White said was, he was like, if it was anyone else, they'd be out. It's like, yeah, okay, so
unanimous decision.
all right, yeah.
Fucking
I think I feel like
Dana
I
White's
remember.
like,
my opinion.
right.
They're like, okay, you need to fucking do this shit. It's the only way we're gonna sell this fight, and that fucking window was just not supposed to break. Because if that window doesn't break, we're having a completely different conversation right now. Completely.
I'm
But the
surprised-
window broke, and I just don't think it was supposed to happen.
I'm surprised Dana wasn't like, you know who we really ought to be pissed at is the fucking bus company.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
those windows should have been reinforced. Let's get the focus off Connor. Like, it would surprise me at this
Yeah.
point because he doesn't even try and hide.
John
it.
never
panders,
coke off
man.
that kind of glass again.
But look, at the same time though, at the same
We
time,
demand a higher quality
Yeah.
of glass to do our drugs off of.
Well, how about my thunderous straw and schnoz hit
but
that
at
shit
the
full
same
speed?
time, does Connor
I use a metal tutor, all right? Like,
Yeah. I use the metal. My tutor's made out of the same shit as that dolly.
I can easily smash through a piece of glass.
It's like, Dana, please, I fucking threw it soft, mate. It fucking broke.
This shit was fucking insane.
But I can't blame them for giving him.
Yeah.
Of course, they're gonna give him special treatment. He's
Yeah.
like, there's no.
But that's
they don't
what
even
I'm-
have a close second as far as big stars.
I'm
go,
just saying,
you know?
like, it still counts as them, like, pandering. It
So,
still
he's
counts
a
as, like,
he's a fucking piece of work, dude, and you know, it is what it is. I would be way more pissed if I was another fighter on the roster. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I get it. You sell fights, okay? You sell fights, but like, you can only be so awful of a human being. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, for sure,
there's
for
gotta
sure.
be there's gotta be a line. It's like, okay, yeah, you sell enough fights, you can be this big of a piece of shit. But like, you know, come on.
Mike Tyson set the bar pretty high.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but also Mike Tyson was also making way more fucking money than Conor McGregor in the UFC.
Well, he was
In the
making
UFC,
more
not-
money. I don't know if
UFC,
he
yeah,
was
like-
generating more money though, was he?
Dude,
It's gotta be pretty.
those Mike Tyson
what did Tyson-
pay-per-views?
I've never looked.
Dude,
at,
Mike
I've never
Tyson
looked
was-
up- I've
Dude, he was
legitimately never
fucking
looked
like the
up.
most
Would
famous
you
guy
would
on
you
the
say that? Would you
I've never
say
looked up a Tyson buy rate.
Okay,
would you say that Conor McGregor is already an icon? Do you think he's reached icon status
Yeah.
like for all time?
Yeah.
I
You think
fucking
so?
hated him, and then when he fucking I still think that fucking Aldo fight was fixed too.
Yeah, it's
No, I don't think it was. I don't think that's what they would have done if it was a fix.
Well, no,
Yeah.
shit, hear me out. hear me out. They go, hey, listen. We know who this guy's going to be the next biggest star. Okay, you've given us 10 years. Thank you very much. All you got to do is take one. Fucking big one in the beginning. We're gonna cash you out.
Yeah,
We're gonna give you a
okay,
retirement
but for a
fund.
bit-
And then we're gonna have Max Holloway
and then you're gonna
fucking
get your
beat
belt
the
back.
brakes
'cause
off
it's
you.
gonna-
Okay, he's getting TKO'd. He's not getting
Yeah.
fucking he
Laid
looked
out
like he got hit in the head
embarrassingly.
with a baseball bat. He's not taking that punch for a fix, dude.
I don't know.
That's just, no, yeah, he's going out like a fucking champ.
That
and he's
was
getting,
as
yeah.
cold of a
Dude, it was like
knockout
9
as you'll
seconds,
ever
bro. It was the
see.
most deflating
It was
fucking thing I've ever watched. It was just like, ah.
That was as cold of a knockout as you'll ever see. in
Did
your
I
life.
tell you about when I met Connor right before that
Oh,
fight?
yeah,
No.
you got
Yeah.
a picture with him.
Yeah, dude.
No shit.
Right, it's on
Before that
my
fight.
yeah, it's on my Instagram. But
No
I
shit.
met him right before that fight. I see him at Venice Beach. I just see this big beard. It looks like yours on steroids, but blonde. You know, like and I just see him through this sea of people, and he sees me going like, "Ah!" like just pointing at him, and so. He just looks up and just starts like he just looks up and starts laughing, and I see his beard like flapping at like off his chin, and he just starts pushing people out of the way to come over and talk to me, and I'm like, dude, I was like, you're fucking awesome. I was all excited. I'm like, you're like my fucking favorite fighter right now, man. 'Cause he was. I was like, I was super all over the fucking
Yeah, and he
Conor
went out
train.
and
Like,
fucking just straight fucking.
and
yeah.
and I was like,
Have you seen that?
yeah. So I talked to him. I'm like, yo, man. I was like, can I get a picture with you? He's like, yeah, takes a picture with me. And I'm like, who? So you're fighting Aldo next, right? And he's like, he looks at me and he gives me like a little Y bow, and he's like, oh, we don't speak of the dead, brother. We're like, oh, shit, that was fucking hard, man.
And then he went on fucking. Okay, I wouldn't even put the sound
Fucking
out, so you don't
executed
hear
him,
it.
man.
Here's the whole fight. This is how it starts off.
Yeah, we're watching the highlight of Connor knocking out Aldo,
Boom.
and it was fucking
Damn.
so
That was
ruthless.
the end of the fight.
That was legitimately.
It was,
That
everyone
was
was
the
so
most.
hyped, and that's
That was the most shocked I've ever been probably UFC history. That was fucking shocking.
That was pretty shocking.
Was there anything more shocking? Nobody expected Aldo
Maybe-
to go out like that.
No,
Maybe Matt Serra knocking out GSP.
Yeah.
No, but here's why I think that was more shocking.
Well, because GSP wasn't at legend status yet. He was just
wasn't?
like at great
And
status.
also
he was
wasn't at
definitely
legend.
great, but he wasn't at legend.
Yeah,
and also
Aldo was already at legend status.
And also too, with GSP, there was more build up to that. With Matt Serra, there was more build up to that knockout because he staggered him, and then GSP wobbled, and then
Oh, no,
This was
I'm
just
not-
a flash
this was a
termination.
flash.
I'm not talking about the absolute execution. I'm just talking about
Just
the fact
the-
that it
yeah.
even got there.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, from an actual like studied perspective, that was realistic enough. Matt Serra's a hard hitter with short arms, and he's a salty fucking vet from way back in the day.
yeah.
Like
For the fight tonight for Fedor and Mir, I'm calling. In today's day and age, I think Frank's gonna take it by knockout.
I kind of
Let's see what the lines are.
I'd have to say
Actually, I have to
that
put
that'd
it
probably be
right
my
now.
guess. And it's a
See what's cracking. No,
I'm
I'm
not
not call Matt and make Matt give me some picks. Dude, I fucking won like $100 off this shit. I was in Tahoe. I was all fucking tweaked.
yeah.
I was like, hey man, what's the lines on this shit? I was playing a show. I get off my set and I look. I was like, fuck yeah, I won. What a good night. Yeah, I remember. You guys ever been up to Matt's been up to Tahoe?
Yeah, I went, but it was kind of a half-assed experience.
I took Dirk up there. Me and Dirk took fucking acid at sunset, dude, and we walked fucking 30. According to my phone, 30,000 steps in that little excursion. Well, that was counting like a death metal show too, though. So we was running around the pit a little bit.
When we went to Tahoe, we hit an owl. Dude, it was crazy. You should have saw this shit. It was the day we were leaving, and it was snowy as fuck. So it was like super gray skies, couldn't see shit. But I saw this owl from probably like, I don't know, 5 seconds away, and I could see him out of my peripheral vision just flying towards the window. And I was thinking to myself like, oh, this guy's he's gonna stop. Like, he's not just purposefully flying into this fucking car.
He knows
And
what he's doing.
I was sitting passenger seat, and he was this owl dude was fucking huge. He had a wingspan, I swear to God, dude, it was probably about as long as this bed. He was fucking gigantic. And he hit right in front, the windshield where I was sitting passenger seat, and I was like eye to eye. Like, it was like
dead as fuck?
No, he didn't die. He flew off.
Jesus
It
Christ.
was crazy, dude, because it was like an intimate moment because I could see him from like fucking 20 feet away taking off. He's coming closer. I was like, no, he's gonna move, and we couldn't do nothing. We're on a fucking 2-lane fucking highway. It's not like we could move. And he just kept coming, and then he smacks, and then boom, he's like,
okay, so here's the lines.
Right there. Crazy. And he flew
fucking
off.
plus 6,000 for a draw. Fuck, put $5 on that, make some money.
I do that all the time.
Yeah,
I'll
just
throw
hedge your
$5
bet
on
with
the
that.
draw. Yeah,
Frank
why
Mir
not?
wins inside the distance is plus 105. Frank Mir wins by 3-round decision plus 475. Fedor wins inside the distance. That's plus 150. So that's like, I guess they're saying Frank Mir's a better odds than Fedor to knock it out, but by not by much. Fuck,
Okay.
Fedor wins inside the 3-round decision by 3-round decision plus 750. Fedor by decision isn't too bad of a fucking. I don't think that'd be too bad. Hold on. If I put $40 on that, 40 to win 300. 40 to win 300. That's a pretty shit, dude. 20 to win 150. I'd throw 20 on that. Fedor by decision. It could happen. That's what I'm saying. It might not, but like the other payouts aren't going to be as good.
Yeah, the payout is better.
Yeah.
It's
the risk. I mean, it totally could happen. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Because they're if they can steal it from somebody, they're going to steal it away from Frank Mir because Fedor's name rings way more bells.
Yeah.
For MMA fans like that.
Well,
nobody gives a fuck about seeing Frank Mir again, but we don't know when we're going to see the last of Fedor.
Here's what I want to see.
You know what I mean? It's like that's really what it is. So
for sure,
if push comes to shove, they're going to give it to Fedor.
They definitely want him to win more. There's going to be more. There's going to be more buzz.
Yeah.
If he wins.
So far, the guys who've advanced in the tournament is Chael Sonnen, Mitrione, and I think those are the only two who fought.
Yeah, they've only had 2 fights.
Yeah. So Chael Sonnen and Mitrione. That's fucked, dude. If they match up Sonnen with Mitrione, that's a fucking rough night. He's way bigger than him.
Yeah.
Him and Fedor, I could see. I still think Fedor would beat him, but him and Fedor is an easier matchup because they're closer in size. But Mitrione is gigantic.
Yeah, he's like he walks around at like fucking normal weight. Like,
yeah, or if they matched up Mir with Sonnen, it's like Mir's way fucking bigger than Sonnen.
Just fall on him and kill him.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, what's Mir like 6'4", fucking 250?
What's Sonnen gonna do? Fucking
So
jab him out
like
and leg
6'2",
kick him?
like 200.
No, it's
You know, I mean, he's still a pretty big guy, but like not big
Yeah.
like that. Chael Sonnen could probably put on 20 pounds and be 220. You know what I mean?
He walks around like 220 max.
But it's not, exactly. That's him, like, just not, it's not his natural weight. It's
Without-
like, I
without
could
a
gain
weight
20
cut,
pounds
yeah.
right now if I wanted to, but it's like, that's just
It
like a
wouldn't be
fluff.
beneficial
It's a
at
fluff
all. Yeah.
weight, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's not my premium weight, you know what I mean?
Eat
Where
some
I'm gonna go
pastas
to-
and drink a couple
Throw
of
him back
beers
on
and all
TRT
fucking
and
yeah.
maybe, a nice solid 10-pound jump there.
What?
Throw him back on TRT.
Oh, yeah.
But they're all geezers, dude. Let all those guys take fucking shit.
That's what I'm fucking saying. Why don't we need to have an MMA Masters division, like over
Vitor Belfort was talking about that.
Yeah?
He was saying that he wants them to have a Masters division.
Yeah, and
That'd
just
be
like
the
have a
shit.
bunch of old dudes on TRT, just like fucking.
That'd be the shit.
That'd be fucking dope, dude. Like
Yeah,
extend all these
we
old
could-
guys'
it-
careers
it-
because
get
they're.
Chuck out
fucking-
there to get knocked out another couple times.
Dude, Chuck's talking about.
Yeah, I
coming
heard
back
Chuck's
and
talking
fighting.
about coming back. Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, he's got to be way out of money, bro. Dude, it has to be, bro.
I
I seen
think
him on
that's
some
part
fucking.
dude.
I seen him on some one of those commercials, or he had like a little ad with the bright shine bright thing. It's like, bro, you gotta be so hurt for
Jesus.
money, bro. If that's
I
what you're
heard
doing.
the UFC fight.
He's on the Navage commercial now.
So when this new company came in, IMG, I think that's what they're called, the company that, or WME, the company that owns UFC right now. When they came in, they had Matt Hughes, Chuck Liddell, and Forrest Griffin all had executive. Well, they were executive positions within the UFC. So Chuck Liddell was manager of something relations or another. Forrest Griffin had some bullshit job, and then Matt Hughes was like behavior guy. Like he would make sure everybody was on their A game. But the rumor was that Chuck Liddell, he was just getting paid just to be a legend, basically. Same with Hughes. And I guess when WME came in and they started cutting people to save money from the purchase, they cut them because they were getting paid a few million a year just to sit on their asses.
Mm-hmm.
And the only guy they didn't cut was Forrest Griffin because apparently Forrest Griffin actually showed up to work. They didn't.
Forrest Griffin
Forrest
has
Griffin showed up
has
to,
incriminating photographs of one of the CEOs.
What they said was that Forrest would show up to like the UFC headquarters in Vegas, and they didn't even have an office for him. They were like, "Dude, this is like a fake job. You don't got to be here." And he like wanted to work, and they said he just brought a chair in and would just hang out, and it's like saved him. He fucking kept his job because of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chuck, dude, they're talking about doing a trilogy fight with Tito, which is a fucking horrible idea.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
There's no win. Well, there's no win other than getting a big fucking payday. There's no win for Chuck in that fight
with Tito.
because Chuck's already beat Tito's ass twice. If him and Tito were to
Handily,
fight at this
convincingly.
point, and if Tito,
that fight wasn't like a rivalry. I don't know why it was
No,
hyped
it was
like a
not a
rivalry.
rivalry.
It was
And,
it was a man beating up a child.
Exactly.
Like that's what it looked
If
like.
they were to fight right now,
It was like a
there's
dad
chance-
beating his son's ass.
He fucking
It's
beat the shit out
like
of
don't
him.
fuck around in school, kid.
But Chuck's older now. He was chinny
Chuck's
at the end of his career.
Chuck's chin.
There's a chance Tito could beat him now, and other than the payday, there's nothing but risk for Chuck because it's like you already handily beat this dude twice. Like there's no reward for you in beating him a third time other than money.
Right,
That's
right.
it. But that's a big reward. I mean, I
Yeah,
say
yeah.
other than money as if it's not a reward.
Yeah, but how much money at this stage in their career? I mean, it's only a
Chuck,
circus fight. I
if
know
they're
that-
fighting if they fought for with the rumor that I heard, because originally they were kind of shopping the idea to Bellator, and then Bellator was like, nah. Apparently Bellator like passed on it. Supposedly now Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya's promotion, is looking at.
Oh, trying to get in the MMA again?
Now, if they fight for Golden Boy, I bet they'll get paid.
Okay,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because it's Oscar De La Hoya is just coked out of his mind, and fucking he's a fucking.
He's a fucking wild man.
He's out there,
He
man.
hangs out at Bodega right by my house.
Does he really?
Yeah, my roommates
What
see
part of
me
LA
all
are
the
you in?
time. Pasadena.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got
he's-
like.
he's-
I didn't. I'm right by Old Town and in the Paseo, the shopping center. There's this spot called Bodega. It's like a wine bar, but I guess fucking De La Hoya goes in there and gets fucking crazy, fucking lives it up in there. Just
Yeah, dude.
fucks everybody. Like
You got that much money,
coax
you've
it,
been
like-
hitting the head that many times, dude, you're fucking insane. Just do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, seriously.
much,
He's
yeah.
fucking rich. He's
You got
fucking
a
set
like
for
20-year
life.
boxing career, dude. Well, like probably more like 30. You're boxing your whole life.
Yeah.
You're boxing since day one.
Yeah.
He was like the first like lighter weight dude that I remember getting like. I mean, there was a lot of famous guys before him, but he was the biggest lighter weight pay-per-view draw. I think, other than Mayweather, I think he was like one of the big lighter weight pay-per-view draws, besides Tyson. You know, there wasn't really anybody else, really, was there?
In like the history of boxing, or what do you mean, like, or just in our generation?
No, as far as like the highest grossing pay-per-view.
Yeah, I tried to look up numbers, bro. It's very hard to.
Is it?
At least there's nothing at the very surface from.
I thought I had heard something that he, as far as pay-per-view, as far as fighters go, generating.
Sure, he's
revenue.
definitely one of the top. He's he's another iconic figure. He's a household name.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like popularity of boxers throughout history, there've been like most of them have been lightweights.
Yeah, but there wasn't like a lot of those guys were like some of the. It's weird because
Dude,
a lot
have
of
you seen a video of fucking Shannon Briggs confronting fucking Klitschko in a fucking restaurant?
Yeah, it's in like Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
Oh god, there's a whole.
I don't. You know what though? I'm always skeptical of the boxing stuff like that because they've like staged that shit so many times. Boxing is notorious for staging altercations like that. So I don't know if I buy that. But he said Shannon Briggs was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I think he said that was legit.
It looked legit. Here's why I think it's legit. Because fucking Russians have
would.
no fucking.
That was the case. Yeah.
I feel like Russians are too cold to like go along with something like this. What you're about to see right here. Klitschko.
Shannon Briggs. Well, he tested hot though.
Did he?
Recently, yeah. I think they were setting up a fight between him and somebody in the meet. And I feel like in boxing, you kind of have to try to test positive because they're not super strict. Yeah, so we're looking at a video of Shannon Briggs confronting Klitschko in a restaurant. He starts eating Klitschko's food. Oh man! If you guys don't know who Shannon Briggs is, he's the guy who calls everybody champ. He's a big, giant, muscular, black gentleman.
He's like Terry Crews, what mean?
He's like Terry Crews. He's like Terry Crews. And Klitschko just poured a glass of water on him. Yeah, dude. And Briggs is going crazy. I like how Briggs is offended at him pouring water on his head, even though he just sat down and ate his food. Which is arguably even more offensive. They just kicked him out of the restaurant. He's probably not allowed back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's allowed to eat at that little
fine establishment. Well, gentlemen, we got to get down. We're working on a metal record.
Okay.
And we need to go on a psychedelic journey and pick up the guitars.
Let's get some more music.
So thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was great to see you guys.
Matthew, good luck on your fucking marathon tomorrow, dude.
Let's get a little social media plug here. For,
you can find me at Riot_Craig. That's RIOT_CRAIG. Yeah, hit that shit up. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, same shit. I'm no longer on Facebook. I freed my mind from that fucking awful prison of fucking just. It's like I don't argue with people on the internet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like I don't. No, I flat out don't. Well, so like, cause all the other thing, I can just post content, and I can choose if I want to respond to you on there or not.
Yeah.
Whereas Facebook, it's like too deeply rooted for me to ever let anything go for some reason. I don't know why.
It sucks you in like that. It really does.
Yeah,
Dude.
it does.
The negativity of the internet.
You know, it's hella negative.
Well, you take a giant community of people and just take away accountability.
Yeah.
And you've got the
there you
internet.
fucking
Yeah.
go. Dude, you could not have said it better than that. So yeah, and we don't have a name for our band yet, but it's coming along. We're just gonna work on the music first and figure that shit out.
You will be the first to know.
You'll be the first to know. Thank you. And next time maybe we fucking I'll bring my shit down when I got a new podcast idea I'm gonna be working on. I'm gonna probably still do Riot's Modern Life, but I'm gonna do it's just called Work Hard as Fuck, and we're just gonna talk about whatever the fuck whoever I'm talking to is working on and the drive behind it and fucking shit like that.
Yeah.
Because more of a motivational from like a perspective standpoint. Like
Great.
you know what I mean? Like when you're training for a fight, let's talk.
Right.
And be like fucking let's see what's going into it, how you're fucking, going about the business and all that stuff. Like that would be something cooler.
Great.
If I had it up and running for Matt for his marathon, that would have been a good one. We can still have him do that because we can talk about the training process for it. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Which
good.
let's mention that real quick. Matt's marathon. That is actually tomorrow, so this will
It's
not
actually
even
called Matt's Marathon.
the marathon of Matt.
They're putting it on just for me. They closed down the city so I could run through. And, they're gonna have grapes waiting for me at the end. So if you guys want to check that out.
So yeah, so that will have already happened by the time this gets out there to the people. But I'd like for you all to go into your heads and wish Matt good luck to the past, because it's over by now. But yeah, don't forget to check out Riot's Modern Life.
He did it. You can check that out.
Yeah, you can definitely check out the results of that and cheer him on. Right. Riot's Modern Life, and what was it? Work Hard as Fuck.
Work Hard as Fuck is coming. It's in development. I'm working on some artwork for it and shit right now. Just got to get some other things.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. Check out Bone Cutrone, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all the latest fights.
Yep. Thank you. 2 hours. We bodied that shit. That was good.
Oh, ML_intrinsic resistance, Instagram, Matt Reviews Media, Instagram.
All right. Wyatt, Dirk, it's been a riot. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Thank you.